this thingy. It is. Oh, dang, I can't do that. Wait till it's done. Hmm. No. What that is either. Well, hello. Did I miss anything here? Oh, a little heart thingy. That's cool. Let's see. Hello, Nikki, MSH, Danny, Emily. Oh, look at people who are commenting. Soul speak. Meow. Oh, not you, meow. What else is missed here? That's what's happening. Hello, Bird, Meg, Roger, Erica. Oh, Tariq. Oh, thank you. I really don't know what to say. I have a few little packages that came in, so if the people who sent things are here, want me to open them, I can do that here as like an unboxing show or something. Yeah. But yeah, I've not done much of anything other than work on trying to get the data off of there. It's there was about 10 years worth of stuff on there, much of which is going to be on different drives in different places, but I'm always a little paranoid before blanking things, so I'm trying to copy everything off of it, which I think has been done. It's now copying from one place to another into a different location, so I can start erasing it on the old phone, because I think I'm going to try and keep less stuff on the new one anyway, so before I start mirroring onto the new one, I'm going to remove a whole lot of the stuff that's currently on there. That make it a little easier to work with. But yeah, that's pretty much been my day, moving stuff along. So I'm kind of, I don't know, tired and sore. That's about it. But yeah, I don't really know what to say. Unless somebody's got any thoughts, questions, anything like that, I'm kind of at a loss. There's a little volume thingy. That's the... You know what? You silly kid. You don't belong up there. Hey. You can do it. You got up there somehow. There you go. Oh. Look at this thing. Um, Transcripts, as in anything recent? No. I've had, other than the constant copying things off, I've done almost nothing on a phone or a computer for a while. So I'm pretty much behind on everything. Oh, someone's in the shower. Let's see. Yes, Minerva is helping. Uh, yep, unboxing. Uh, Thank you very much. Um, yeah, uh, I mean, yeah, I get that, Danny. I don't really have anything that I'd like. I just, you know, short on energy because short of getting some sleep last night, this is all I've been doing. Um, and given how many things that I'm always behind on, I mean, I'm really dependent upon the task list reminders that come up on my phone, which is sort of annoying because the app that I use to access the Google task list hasn't been maintained in years, so it's getting increasingly goofy. But there's a lot of stuff in there, um, so I've honestly not been able to keep track of anything that I'm supposed to be doing. So until I can get that to work, and for some reason I couldn't get it to repopulate properly on the old phone. So I'm hoping I can get it to copy over the way it's supposed to be onto the new one from the cracked one, and then I'll get some of my brain back. But yeah, I'm it's sort of I'm sure there's a ton of things that I'm supposed to be doing that I can't remember that I'm supposed to be doing because I can't see that, which always sort of gets to me. Um, Back in the day, I used to carry around tons of note cards and write everything down, and of course lose them. But I've gotten really used to putting everything digitally into the little phone, so I'm kind of crippled without it. Um, Explain why you. Hold on a second. There's a. Um, I saw the beginning of something and then it jumped. Let's see. This is a little harder to do on a smaller screen. Older phone's much smaller. Maybe that is your birthday. So I'm down. Yeah. I mean, it is downtime in that sense. It's stressful in a way because I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing, but it is downtime of a sort. I mean, short of going down to the post office, I didn't even really get dressed today. Even so, just been sitting at my cluttered desk with all this equipment all day. Let's see. Where was that one that somebody said something about? Oh, maybe it was somebody that was muted. Okay, there's somebody. Um, I didn't. I saw it to see part of a question and then it disappeared. So I'm guessing that's the one from George Douglas. Emily, what was that? I'm kind of curious. Was it somebody being a problem? Oh, look, there's a little request thingy. Oh, it's that George Douglas person again. Oh, and then there's Cactus. I'll do that first because I don't know what that is.
Here we go.
Hey, there's Erica.
Hey!
Oh, there's somebody popped in here to say that Jesus Christ is King, which is unique. That's a new one. Uh, huh. Yeah, does anybody know who this George person is or what they were asking? Because I didn't
I didn't
catch
see
that.
anything.
I'm not sure who that is. Um, George, we can bring you up here in a little bit, um, if you like. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
happy.
I'd like Emily to say why there was something mutable too, because I saw the first couple of words from somebody, then it disappeared, but I don't know what it was at all. Um, Hi, original God, more beautiful, more smart God, big ideas, big original God, love, everything love.
Well, that's interesting too. I'm getting all kinds of interesting comments on here.
It's a new account.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, Mr. Books, I'm not sure exactly what you were trying to say there, but I appreciate the effort. I'm the universe is beautiful. Love everything. Okay, I'm cool there. Darren thought he was a bad troll. Okay. Oh, okay. So Emily and Dharma think that George is a troll. Um,
Probably.
LSD is a wonderful thing. Um, I I have to give trigger warnings in beginning of my the semesters because my lecture notes have tons of terrible jokes in them. So I just tell people don't take things seriously. I pick on everything equally. It's just a way of like keeping you guys awake and in classes and whatnot. I've got a great one about Moses and the burning bush, and it's like where were you when the acid kicked in?
I mean, I've always thought that he was on mushrooms or some type of something. So, I mean, that just makes sense to me.
Well, it
Um,
could. Yeah, I mean, realistically, it's more that the the whole narrative is written much later to explain something entirely different. But the way it's written does kind of sound like a nice trip.
yeah, is
Cool voice booming out of there, and like I am that am. I'm like, ooh, that's really groovy.
yeah,
Yeah.
Terrence McKenna just stated the obvious for sure. Is um is Meg fully loaded for you? She's kind of like see-through for me. So I think TikTok's having some glitches, but I want to say happy birthday from all of us. And yeah, like I think whatever, I'm going to tag off what Danny said and welcome Cactus and Meg if you're there. Um, that this is your day and like whatever feels supportive for you, whatever feels good. We want you to feel loved and appreciated, and I get that like dealing with tech stuff is, pretty draining. So we just want to be aware of your energy and support you in the way that you would like. And
Yeah,
welcome
no,
Danny, Cactus, and Mike.
yeah, I appreciate that. Um, yeah, if not, if I didn't come on live at all, I wouldn't have said anything to anybody else the entire day. So it's nice at least in that sense. I mean, yes, I do talk to you. All right, that was a good correction.
We can't upset Minerva.
Cat's mad at me. Yes, yes, you're a person too. I was talking to you, but you're only begging for treats, so that doesn't work. Yeah, just been sitting here for most of the day. Whenever there's a nice big chunk I can let go and not watch it for a minute, I've gone in the other room and gotten something to eat. I just had some noodles a bit ago. Um, nice simple noodles and olive oil and whatnot. Yay. Um, and watched an episode of Fallout, which I heard people saying was good, and it has been like really really good. I don't know the game at all, but the I'm most of the way through that season, and I've quite liked it.
Well, that's a good recommendation. I need a new show. So
Yeah,
I think
it's
you would.
neat. It's got a lot of those cool post-apocalyptic sort of vibes, but it's a mystery. Like every single episode seems to introduce a whole bunch of new layers and whatnot, over long periods of time. So it's like filling in backstory. I mean, it's kind of like like Lost did things like that, where there's like they're filling in things over time, a bit as you go. Of course, I hope the payoff for this show ultimately is better than that one, but the it's neat because you can't really guess where the show is going to go from episode to episode, which is relatively easy with a lot of shows. This one has been nice so far.
I like that. I think you would really like, and I know other people have suggested it to you. So when you get done with Fallout and you want like a short, light something, I think you would really like The Good Place.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's I put that on my task list at some point to try and find a copy of that.
It's
So
on
yeah,
Netflix and it's short. I think they're like 30-minute episodes and they're light, and there's a lot of like philosophy stuff in it. I just think that you would enjoy it. So, but I don't want to dictate. Danny, welcome everyone. And I want to be aware of your energy, Liam. So, you know, we'll just kind of hang out for a little bit and follow you.
Rebellious mentioned Sherlock. I remember seeing at least the first series of that. I don't remember if I did saw the other two. Or whatever. I don't think I ever went back to that. If I did, I don't remember it. But I do remember watching the first series. Hey, you know what? Meow. You too.
Yeah, I did invite Dharma. I don't know timing wise, but I'm sure. Yeah, thank you everyone for tapping the screen and sharing it out.
It's 4 a.m. there, so if she didn't know, she's not gonna be awake. uh, oh yeah, the training trailers. Yeah, the all the old Vault Tech stuff is great. It's there's a lot of let's pick on corporate dystopia type stuff in there, which has been great so far. Hey, knock that over. Oh, thanks. Somebody sent me birthday hugs. Let's see. Oh yeah, yeah, Lindsay, my phone. I was actually typing some book recommendations to somebody sending in the other side of the room here, and it slipped out of my hand. But I wouldn't think anything of it normally because it's got the little screen protectors and it's got the big thick OtterBox thing around it. Usually dropping them is fine, but I have a bunch of tools and stuff over there right now because I had to bring a bunch of stuff from downstairs in my workshop up in order to do the septic work, and it landed right on a bit of metal, and a straight line cracked the screen across it, so it's shattered on both sides, and it's not just the screen, it's the display. So it's toast. So I've been trying to get the stuff off there, but I have the phones with like the terabyte drives because I tend to keep too much on there. I just keep accumulating the pictures because whenever I want to look for like an old meme or a picture or something, I want to know that it's there. So I have a bazillion subfolders and tend to keep everything on the phone. I'm gonna try and leave a lot of it off this time. I've been doing that for too long. I didn't see anything about Pompeo at Liberties.
I
People
don't know.
could
I think your
mention that.
political memes. Oh, sorry, Liam. I think your political memes are on point, at least the ones that I've seen. Even if you do have to explain them to me because I don't get them at first.
Yeah, I spent years in a bunch of weird history and philosophy themed meme groups. So if you want obscure shit, I've got like obscure shit that I've made and collected. But I put up a lot of fun political ones still too. I don't do it as much as I used to, but um, I enjoy making them, and I have a huge collection of them. Oh, yeah, yeah. I thought it was weird too. Yeah, it's and normally the lip on the OtterBox is high enough on the outer edge that if it came down, it wouldn't do it. But it hit uh, it hit a bar of metal that's sitting over there. So that was unexpected, and it is about half of my brain at this point. So um, it's been kind of discombobulating.
Yeah, and friends
Uh,
on the panel, feel free to jump in. Don't let me. I know we're all friendlies here, so
Yeah, I just came up to wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah,
Of
I
course.
appreciate it.
I'm sure there's lots of people who want to jump in here and wish you happy. You know what? I'm gonna turn my camera on. Hey, happy birthday, dude. Um, that's why I'm up here too. I want to hang out, tell you happy birthday, and tell you that you definitely have given me knowledge that I probably wouldn't have had otherwise. So if you take anything away from today, I hope you take away that you have made a really positive impact on the world, for sure, man.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Of course.
Yeah, I try. I got to say, contributing in this kind of format is definitely a lot easier than a lot of the in-person type stuff I used to force myself into. go down to info shops and whatnot and sit there and chat with people. This is a much lower stress level socializing, which is great. It's been
We
very
can
nice.
stress you out more if you want. I mean, we can
I mean,
stress you
sure,
out
try it. Yeah,
if that's
yeah,
what we need here.
yeah. Push me out of my comfort zone. Go for it. Yeah, but it's been it's been nice. I'd um I'd found it at a few different points in my life. Various little communities online that felt nice, but they were always just basically text based. So back like the old like bulletin board type stuff on like PHP or like Facebook groups and whatnot. But I'd never had anything where I can see people and just talk while I'm doing stuff. It's just been really kind of fascinating. Um, I'm still very happy that I got told I get to pop on a TikTok and see how that works, because I really just thought it was for sharing dance videos. I had no idea you could like go live and talk to people. So it's yeah, I've really appreciated this. Yeah, y'all are like super cool people. It's been really kind of it's been a remarkable, like, I guess more than half a year now. Gosh, uh, yeah, it was beginning of November, so yeah, y'all been putting up with me for 7 months. It's
We're
crazy.
friends. You can say it. We're friends.
We're
You,
friends.
but you're
We're
still putting
friends.
up with me. That's great. I mean, I've always joked about my the in-person friends and whatnot, just people in my life. Like the people who can put up with me are worth their weight in gold. Because let's see. Um,
I'll jump on that and say same, Liam. Like I remember the moment when my neighbor and um very close friend turned to me and was like, Erica, I think you'd really like TikTok. And I was like, what?
yeah.
And yeah, like I have met several people in real life off of TikTok. And I have heard too of experiences of friends meeting each other, especially when you meet like this on audio and video, that
hmm
it does feel like you're meeting a friend. Like it doesn't feel um yeah, so and I'll say that in my own life too, of having to distance myself from certain people in my life because of Palestine, and because I didn't imagine wedges would come between us, but like now this really has. And so I think that the community, especially with like-minded individuals, and like Angela Davis, I keep on thinking of her saying that Palestine is a litmus test for humanity. And I just think that is just so on point. It's a litmus test for if I think you're a good human or not, and how close you get to be in my life. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate this crew.
Yeah, thanks. I have to agree on everything there. It really is, and it's been fascinating to see the kind of people who do have a problem with it. Um, because I think at the end of the day, no matter how much effort a lot of these like trolls and commentators and YouTubers and news people and politicians and everything else, no matter what they're all the hoops they jump through to try and rationalize what they're doing, at the end of the day, they're simply okay with radical nationalism and force. Like it just doesn't matter to them. They don't care. So um, I think the people who are okay with this kind of state violence are just people I don't want around. And it's nice to find that there are decent humans all over the place out there, because yeah, it can be very disheartening just how many awful people there are that are really keen to justify this sort of thing. It really just reminds you of so many past moments where the world has had these like litmus tests about significant violence and conflicts and whatnot, and people are always like, yeah, no, that's fine. I'm always reminded of things like the 1936 Berlin Olympics, and every country went, nobody objected, and the Nuremberg laws had already been passed. Concentration camps already existed, and everyone just went to Berlin to participate in the Olympics. No one was criticizing it. They're like, yeah, that's a failure right there. We should have cared more. There's just so many places like that that it's nice to see something like this empowering enough people that can actually communicate with each other and talk about them, and you know share the fact that, yeah, the media does not speak for me, the politicians do not speak for me, these corporations don't speak for me. We we don't consent. That's been nice. Yeah, Danny, exactly. And honestly, just the whole liberalism thing in general, because liberals are always like, well, we can't go too fast. Oh, now is not the time. Oh, don't be so forceful about that. It's always like, what all can you put up with? Like, that's the thing that gets me. I totally get the worries about Trump, because bro is a neo-fascist and he does want, a full-on military state. But the people who are out there telling you, oh yeah, you really got to vote for Biden, like, really? That's the best we can do? That's it? Like, Trump bad, so mass murder okay? That's that's all you got? It's depressing the way that everyone wants to keep the emphasis on, like, doing that. Get out there, support Biden. Like, no, sorry,
Go ahead and
like
jump
last
in
time.
this. Cactus said that he was saying in the comments that something about liberals, and I don't, I don't, I don't see any liberals around here. But go ahead, Cactus.
I well, well, first of all, of course, I want to say happy birthday. And, I think everyone here admires you so much, not just as somebody who's so knowledgeable and intelligent, but as somebody that really uses that to stand up for social justice and stand up for what you think is right. And, that really is just such a commendable and a type of wealth that few people can hope to achieve. So, we all really appreciate your presence, and hope you had a great birthday. But yeah, I don't. The question that came to mind was kind of based around an experience I had today with this live that was kind of like liberals asking leftists, why don't you want to vote for Biden? And, very, very white space, blocking people of color, disagreeing with them, misgendering people they disagreed with as an insult, and, just very infuriating stuff. So I was just wondering, and I've been thinking a lot about fascism recently and its characteristics, but why is it that liberals ultimately kind of side with fascists, or a lot of them side with fascists? And what are
Oh,
sort of historical
yeah.
examples of that? And what is it in the ideology? Um,
Well, the core of liberalism is still free markets and trade. It's capitalism. They are okay with certain types of hierarchy. They're okay with business hierarchies. They're okay with some people accumulating huge amounts of wealth. They always want to, like, oh well, we can just tax them at a certain point or whatever, like. But they they're ultimately fine with that kind of power, and that's the key. The opposition to it, to fascism, just like it is to capitalism and everything else, is ultimately rooted in a rejection of that whole hierarchical mode of thinking, that some people deserve to dominate other people. And liberals are always fine with that. What they want to do is they want to democratize it to some extent, but always in a very safe way, in a way that isn't really going to change things. I When you really have time to dig into things, it's fun to point out to people that, before the rise of modern democratic states, people were actually considerably freer than they were after they got democracies. And we're told that the democracy is what freed us, and, kings bad and whatnot, but kings ignored people for the most part. You didn't register births, you didn't register deaths, you were taxed infrequently. They'd come around and shake you down for some money, and then that would be that, and you wouldn't run into the government for years. And for the most part, things were managed more communally and within the community. Um, and the more that we've turned over power to Leviathan, in a sense, and the more we made states more powerful, we've restrained that to some degree with democracy. But the simple fact is, you have made a far more powerful state than ever existed before. And liberalism is okay with that. Liberalism is the side of the accumulation of great power that is that has some qualms. Maybe we should put in some rights for people, some like some throw them some bones out of this whole process. But that's really it. They're they're still on the same trajectory of increasing power and hierarchy.
So they're almost largely responsible for the things that people like the guys in the Frankfurt School and Gramsci talked about, which is the creation of the middle class and kind of creating a slightly more tolerable existence for workers in a capitalist society. And that's sort of, would you say that they're largely involved
Yeah,
in that?
yeah. I mean, and that's so we don't even necessarily need to get into the era of social democracy, which the Frankfurt folks were talking about. Just go back into the 18th or 19th century. What were liberals first talking about? They're like, yeah, free market's good, but maybe child labor bad, maybe slavery bad. Like introducing certain reforms, certain qualms, certain limits on what they could do. Whereas, the harder right was like no limits at all. Let the market do whatever the hell the market wants to do, and if the market wants to sell people, then the market can sell people. But the liberals were like, you know what? I think people should be forced to sell themselves, but we should give them that illusion of choice in selling themselves to an employer instead of just grabbing people from their homes and enslaving them. That's the difference. But
Mm.
they're still very, very happy with more powerful states and with these hierarchies of capital that employ people. And
Mhm.
realistically, the way the wage system was created, is a kind of enforced slavery. You are forced to compete in a way and sell yourself and sell your life, sell the hours of your life away, because there's no longer a way to take care of yourself, which used to be the case. People always like, well, you guys just don't want to work, all that kind of bullshit. But like, no, it used to be really, really easy for people to just take care of themselves because the land was more communally owned, right? That it wasn't all owned by people. Oh, I want to build a new house and start farming and feed my family. No one lives over there. I'm going to go over there and build my house there and start farming that land because somebody didn't own it. You could just do it. That
Mm.
was normal. And when people wanted to live closer together, they shared resources. The closing off of the commons forced people to start selling themselves. That's one of the the defining early features of capitalism, and and liberals helped to drive that whole process.
Mm.
It's like it's two sides of the same right wing animal. One makes no excuses for the tyranny and just says we are going to crush you, and if you don't like it, tough shit. And the other's like, I want you to have the illusion of freedom and choice as I crush you. Those are your two choices.
Mhm. So
So when it
another,
comes down to it, your first question there is a good one because a lot of people don't get the fact that liberals have always chosen the authoritarian models when they'll talk a good talk. Look at the way I don't know the neoliberals like Friedman and whatever dealt with Pinochet. They far preferred Pinochet. They did not mind a military state that was throwing people out of helicopters. They were perfectly okay with that because the markets were free. So
mhm.
all their talk about freedom, they're always talking about, yeah, the freedom, we're fighting your freedom. No, they're not. They're talking about freedom for people who are wealthy and powerful, not for the rest of us. So
Mhm.
the mask comes off in plenty of circumstances. And whenever you have a significant left wing movement, an attempt to kind of roll things back, whether you're talking about, gosh, I don't know, like the diggers and the levelers back in the 17th century, all the way up to like all the revolutionary movements, like from the Paris Commune through the revolutions of the 20th century, all those attempts to get back to a saner, more moral way of organizing society are met with extreme force. And liberals will always choose the side of force because they're determined to preserve the rights of capital and property.
Mhm.
So if you have a choice between losing democracy but keeping property, you know, or losing the property, they're they're always gonna throw democracy out.
Yeah. So another interesting, I guess, or another interaction that I've been interested in recently is the interaction between conservatives, especially the somewhat more libertarian, religious, socially conservative right, and fascism, because
Mhm.
because fascism brings about changes to society that are revolutionary, that are that call for this rebirth and paleo and all of that. Um, is it almost in some cases the case that conservatives are met with more suppression or resistance from fascists than liberals?
Um, Not really. Fascism has problems with both philosophies because fascism does have its radical regenerative, goals, but it doesn't ultimately bother conservatives in the things that they most care about. So they accommodate themselves to it even more easily than liberals do.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when your interest is mostly in like the social policies, and a lot of social policies, fascist movements and conservatives are they're simpatico already.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's what matters more to you, then it won't this won't be a real problem. And in practice, every single time a government has gotten into power that we can call fascist, it's always found a way to gain power through working with existing conservatives, because it kind of at the end of the day, it really depends on what's most important to you. Because on any given side, philosophy, ideology, whatever, you say, I believe in all of these things. But at the end of the day, it's a much shorter list that you really care most about. And the things that they care most about, the fascists aren't going to touch at all. I mean, it's the same thing ultimately with liberals. Like they care about like a free press and democracy and all that kind of stuff, but they care about property rights more. So they're ultimately able to accommodate themselves to it, not really push back. The
Mm-hmm.
And conservative movements have historically not really been touched much by fascist movements. They've often worked very closely with them. They have had, oh, hey, you shouldn't take those estates, you shouldn't restrict us in this, that, or the other way. There's always all the minor objections, but I mean, Mustache Man came to power because of conservatives. Same with Mussolini and Franco and tons of others. They always were happier working with and becoming part of that system, even though some of its ideals seem, I guess, um, I don't know, kind of trashy to them. They're like, oh, you're a little uncouth for us. All the German conservatives said that Mustache Man was just completely uncouth, raving lunatic, uh, and and I get it. He spoke poorly. He was a high school dropout. I mean, he's not their kind of person. It's not that traditional aristocratic conservatism, but on the things they most cared about, entrenching hierarchy and state religion and everything else, they were fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. I just yeah, that really answers my curiosity on that topic quite thoroughly. But I do have another question that I suppose it's also about fascism, but it stems from two things that I noticed, and one of which I actually made a post about. And the first is the famous there's a famous picture of there's a uh, mass grave, and there's like one person standing. It's called like the last Jew in whatever the name of the city was. Do you know the picture I'm talking about?
I'm
Or there's the
offhand.
soldier standing. Well, there's a soldier, and there's a bunch of Yahtzee soldiers standing behind it. It's a very, very hard to look at picture, but I was very struck by this one figure in the background who is just looking at with such a just looking at the scene with such a blank look on his face, and is kind of just standing very stiff, like a just like this kind of very good soldier. And I find that kind of person very interesting because it seems like the sort of person that will just fit into whatever they're around. They'll just go along with things and just be good at whatever gives them social rewards in the environment that they're in, which I suppose that we all do to some extent, but uh, how, like, what is the common psychology of that sort of person, and how do you help people like that kind of think for themselves before it's a bit too late? Because there was also the post I made was about this. His name was it's a Polish name, so I can't really remember or pronounce it. But he was one of the highest ranking officials. He was responsible for numerous crimes against humanity in Poland, and he stood as a witness at the Nuremberg trials and made this, essentially realized what he was doing was wrong, because he realized that Jewish people weren't organized and that they were, kind of totally unprepared for this. They weren't this sort of controlling, force. And he realized this and understood that what he was doing was evil, essentially. And he still did it. And I think, what is the psychology of that sort of person? And again, how can we help people like that think for themselves before it's too late? Or is it sort of just the type of person that will kind of just fall in line in any sort of environment they're in?
That is a much more complex topic than you may be expecting, and one on which I don't really have very optimistic answers, because on some level I don't expect people to be able to notice it. There's at at the end of the day, we are apes, and we're motivated by all kinds of very simple things like security and comfort, and our particular sense of like community or comradeship. So if people are giving you that, if they're giving you a sense of community and a sense of purpose and meaning, and it seems like comfortable and easy to go along with, then a, a lot of people are going to do that every time. And I don't know that you can inspire people to push themselves if they're not willing to do so. I mean, it's there's plenty of people who on their own are going to seek things out, and it is possible to, I guess, inspire some people to care enough on their own and look into it, people who wouldn't otherwise. But that's still, it's a matter of like awakening the share of the population that could have done it already. I don't know that a majority are ever going to be able to see that stuff. That at the end of the day, it just isn't going to matter. And most of the people who participate in the worst atrocities in our history didn't do it because they had an ideological reason to do it. People tend to think that all those like Yahtzees were true believers, like believers in the cause, and that's why they went after the Jews in Eastern Europe. And honestly, a lot of that was just peer pressure. They thought they were doing the right thing because everyone told them they were doing the right things. Like, oh, okay, sure, I'll do it, and they just went and did it. Um, it was just it became normalized for them. It wasn't something that they chose. This is another place where we have a tendency to think that there's like good and evil out there, and if we can stop the evil, people are good, and it'll all come out. And like at the end of the day, most people are neither. They're always they're motivated much more by very simple needs. And if your community environment, if your social structure encourages the best in you, if it brings out the best, um, if it if it again accentuates all those good things, then great, it's going to work. Then things will be happy there. But if the situation gets bad, sort of, if the circumstances are bad, the structures are bad somehow, if there's demagogues that take advantage of those decaying structures, then the same people that would have been really, really good in the right circumstance are going to be really, really bad in another circumstance, because they're just going to go in a way that makes sense based on the circumstances that they're in. I don't know that it's possible to really, on a fundamental level, change most of us in that way. I think that the real challenge is to build social structures in a way that brings out the best and discourages the worst without, the food or anything else, like all the rest of that crap. But you try to inspire the best out of people, but still, we always have that risk. If things go badly, people are going to fall into doing all kinds of awful shit again. And I don't think we should be surprised about it. I don't think there's any reason to be super cynical about people either and just hate humans. But I think that we should be a bit more realistic about our expectations of humans as a whole, because we have not fundamentally changed in the way that we think in 300,000 years. We are what we are. Now, what matters is the circumstances that we're in. So we can be our best selves in the right circumstances, and we will be absolute shits to each other in the worst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I'm sorry for turning this into such a grim conversation on your birthday, but I did have another question about Cyprus, actually, and it's a very general question, but I mean, who's right? You know what I mean? Like, who 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 does it belong to? Is there really one side that's more kind of imperialist, or is it sort of just, the Turks and Greeks have a history of conflict, and they just both happen to be there, kind of thing?
They're both wrong. I mean, the problem is applying an ethnic nationalism to an area that was diverse. It's the same situation you've got over and over again in tons of other areas. There were different religious and linguistic communities living on the same island. Go figure. I mean, it had been like that all along. I mean, it had tons of Phoenician speakers on there before it was ever Greek. The Greeks that are there weren't originally Greek people. The culture and religion have changed constantly. I mean, it's one of our early centers of human settlement too. I mean, the Bronze Age was made possible in part because of settlement of Cyprus, and pulling the copper out of there. I mean, the people have been there for a long frickin' time. That people need to have a country that fits their narrow definition of self is the problem. The instigator in a lot of the conflict was Greek nationalism, but Turkish nationalism responded to it in ways that were equally horrible. So there's no one isn't better per se just because one started the fight. They're
But the
both
Greeks
problematic
started.
because
Yeah.
the fight over its identity and trying to connect it to things is ultimately Greek. I mean, there was a movement to try and unify it with the rest of Greece during the period of the junta, and because Greece had been organized as a nation state that was explicitly expelling and persecuting non-Greek speakers in the country, people in the northern third of Cyprus were a lot more uncomfortable with that. And really, it wasn't as divided the way it is now. More of the Turks were in the north before, but they were all spread around through the whole thing. There were Greek speakers in the north and Turkish speakers in the south. There was massive ethnic cleansing to create the current situation.
So it was the Greeks' fault. No, I'm kidding. But
Well, it was during there was a linkage between a political faction in Cyprus and the military junta in Greece that talked about trying to link them together into a single larger Greek country, nation state, and a lot of the Turks opposed that, and that's where the Turkish invasion came in. So the Turkey did step in to stop that, but had it not, it would have sucked it into that as well, into a nation state that would have again put a significant minority in a tricky situation. Again, there's no the again I ascribe equal blame to both. The instigating moment is the attempt to link the countries, and then that inspires a Turkish invasion. Both are problems. Like Turkey massively overreacted and reacted badly to it, right? But the attempt to link to an explicit, Greek ethno-state that was opposed to Turks and Muslims was also a problem. I mean, think about their earlier 20th century history. Not only do you have the G-sides in 1915, but the aftermath of the Greco-Turkish War and the massive ethnic cleansing there. 2 million people were expelled from their homes. I mean, Greece expelled its Muslims, and Turkey expelled its Christians. And oftentimes in a way that had nothing to do with ethnic identity or even language. They expelled people purely on the basis of religion. So Turkish Muslims in Cyprus are somewhat justified in being nervous about being connected to that. And the fact that it
Mhm.
was during the period of the Greek military junta as well, there are significant neo-fascist elements of that government that we tend to forget about as well. I mean, Greece always had a fascist movement as well.
Mhm.
So there's at least justifiable fear that this won't go well for them, but they didn't react very well either.
Mhm. So it's a yeah, okay. Because I've never really I have tried to learn about the history, but it is it's just so long and complicated, and there's so many strong opinions about it. But that's very illuminating. I just have one last question about the current president of Ethiopia, Abe. I've talked to a number of Ethiopians on here who are from the south and the north, and had different perspectives on him. But one thing that I have heard, which is essentially more or less Fano and Amhara, and to some extent Tigrayan people and people of the north, are more concerned about maintaining the status quo because the Amhara people were so influential in the history of Ethiopia and in some ways created the modern Ethiopia, whereas the Oromo and other groups in the south are kind of looking to build a more democratic society, and aside from groups like the OLF and ethno nationalist militias, might be more worried about bringing back the status quo and tend to think of themselves as left wing. And I was just wondering, do you think that's fair? Or is it kind of just nationalist movements all around that are sort of just fighting each other, and at the end of the day, they're all kind of trying to change the status quo in their favor?
Yeah, I think this is another place where, okay, so just as in the Cypriot case, what we tend to do in these, and there's a difference, I guess, between people who just want to make the world better and people who want to be specialists in the history and politics of a particular region. For the latter, you need a lot of um, the minor specifics of any individual situation. Um, but at the end of the day, there are a ton of commonalities to conflicts all around the world. And if we shifted our focus more to those commonalities, we'd probably do a hell of a lot better at solving problems because we could preemptively solve things in a sense that you're dealing with what are the causative factors here. And the bigger problem is the whole model of nation states, of defining yourself politically based upon these different regional and ethnic differences. So, given that Ethiopia is incredibly diverse and large and populous country, and that the nation state model has been imposed on it only in the modern world, like everywhere else in the world, it doesn't fit. I mean, outside of like, San Marino sized countries, the nation state never is going to make any damn sense because humans are inherently diverse. I mean, any given country is going to have tons of different like cultures, religions, languages, anything else. Wildly divergent histories. And when people start thinking, oh, the government isn't listening to me because the government is like those people with that language and that ethnicity, and they're not like me with my language and my ethnicity, then you have two options: fight to secede and create your own smaller country, or try to take over the country and then impose your will on other people. And we've had that both between Amhara and Tigray peoples. They've taken turns trying to unalive large numbers of people and impose their will on a country. But you also have attempts at separatism all over the place, and neither of these are really helpful. At the end of the day, it's just we have to understand that this current approach to politics is the problem itself. And I think it'll make it easier to solve the problem because we're reacting. We're constantly reacting to problems and chasing after a specific issue. And here, this will solve this one particular issue. But if you don't change the fundamentals that caused it, shit's going to happen again and again and again and again and again. And that's the real frustration.
And so
So,
when it comes to Abe's role in this, would you say his idea of, Ethiopianness and kind of trying to homogenize the country is ultimately exacerbating these problems rather than being this like unifying
yeah,
figure that he's
yeah,
claimed to be?
I get the impulse in rhetoric like that, because, I mean, at the end of the day, when you don't have a shared identity. This is one of the problems. Okay, in the Palestine-Israel situation is that there's no real Israeliness that's distinct from Jewishness for a lot of people, because the main national identity in the country always was very uncomfortable expanding itself to include non-Jews into it. So it creates a very fractious society, and people are not very happy with it. So I get the impulse to say, well, why don't we just have a broader shared identity? But every time you've done that, um, it's always come at the expense of other communities. I like contrasting that with like the French example. You know, France didn't have to go around massively unaliving different populations. They just forcibly assimilated people over the last 2 centuries through the school system and the military, such that most of the diversity in that country is either gone or it is like critically endangered. And that's just because of state education policies. And they did successfully create a Frenchness out of it, but at the cost of all those different identities. And people who are nervous about losing their identity, the big fear in places like Ethiopia, one of the reasons a lot of people in France basically just walked into that and they were willing to accept it and just stop passing their language on to their kids is that they they saw certain benefits to it. They were financially better off. There was a sense of like, an attempt at security, and they got really, really good at the propaganda. Kind of like, again, this is one of the things that liberalism is really good at, like selling people like, hey, you're giving up this, but you're gaining all these other freedoms and all these other wonderful things that you're going to get out of that. So, okay, cool. And people just chose to do it. When you have a history of interaction with, say, genocidal powers like Italy, or with all the other different colonial and imperial structures there and all the conflicts around that, communities are naturally going to be a little bit more skeptical. Like, what do we get out of this? If we give up who we are to embrace this like meta identity at a larger level, and we stop being who we are, who does that actually make us? And at the end of the day, too, this is one of the problems with. This is one of the reasons people try to create those conlangs, like Esperanto, as a way of getting around this. Because if you're going to make people like all Ethiopian, then what language do they speak? Do you see a problem there? Because as soon as you pick one of
Amhara.
them, it's like, oh, more of us already speak Amharic, so that should be, we should all become that. Well, then that's just like with France, where they just imposed a language and destroyed, Provençal and Gascon and everything else. People are going to lose something. And when you've got communities that are a lot more worried about losing their identities already because they are on the fringes, of global socioeconomic development, they're going to fight back more against that. And I get it. I understand why.
Yeah, and then the Ogaden region is just a whole different, issue then, and there's no way that that would be, except, to try to assimilate that region would be, I mean, so yeah. Well, thank you so much for answering
Yeah, I
my
mean, in
questions and
anything, like
okay.
assimilating different areas, it's always going to involve like some kind of significant. Oh, why is this not working? Huh. I keep. Huh. Can somebody else try it? JBS is in the little guest thing trying to request to come up, and I keep hitting accept, and it won't work.
Yeah, we we've been talking about that. Let's finish up with Cactus, drop Cactus, and then we can bring JBS up,
Oh,
and then you have to change the layout. The mods can't change the layout for you right now,
it's a
but
layout thing.
let's
How do we do layouts here too? Because I'm on a much smaller screen too, so I'm not sure how that's going to work.
it should be with the panel. Nikita, are you better at this than I am? I know it's with the panel and the grid.
Yeah,
It's the
you have to change the grid.
settings.
I've seen this before, and I can't remember where it was.
It should be right under settings, I believe. It has a little
But I'm not going
gear.
to stay for long. It is 4:22 a.m., but I just wanted to say happy birthday, Prof.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
And are you
Thank you.
having a good day?
This is the best part of it.
Yee!
That counts. So yeah,
Oh, it's good to see you.
but it's been
I'm gonna get on camera.
busy here.
Hi, JBS.
There's-
I always have to give a caveat before I get on camera. You have a round ring, Liam. It looks like a settings ring. Just click on that, and that should get you to the format. No? when you go to
Settings ring?
it just looks like one of those wheels with grooves around it.
No. There's the power button at the top. That's the only wheel thing I can see.
Or where you see the grid and the panel, like toggle button.
No.
Should be where your host, you have at the bottom host, guest. Click on the host button first.
Oh, okay. So, okay. Oh, here where the little guest thing is, and then there's a ring at the. Oh, it's under guest. There it is.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, I call it the bisexual button because it's the colors of the bisexual flag.
Yeah, I can
I
put it
love
into
that,
the grid
Nikita.
where everybody is tiny. Otherwise, it says panel, and I don't see how it changes the layout for the panel. Because grid is just going to like make everything like really tiny, isn't it? Where's the? Oh,
Should be like a switch where it
it
changes
actually
the
doesn't
number
work.
of guests.
I actually can't do it at all. When I click grid, it says internal service error.
Oh no.
There's a
It's been
TikTok issue.
super glitchy.
Uh,
Even when
yeah,
I came up,
and
it was really
the fixed
glitchy.
layout button doesn't work either. When I try to change the fixed layout one, it also says service internal error. TikTok's got some issues.
Yeah, this app is held together by scotch tape and bubble gum. But anyway,
Anyhow,
I will
want to
drop down.
up and
Well, Nikita,
go ahead, Nikita.
before you go, is there anything else, since I know it's like an ungodly hour for you at like 4 a.m. Is there anything else that you want to say before we check on Liam? Yeah, just
Well,
wanted to.
I could not drink today, but I'm going to be having a whiskey for you tomorrow because I
Thank you.
got some nice whiskey. But I hope you have an absolutely wonderful evening, and we appreciate absolutely everything you do.
Oh, thank
You are
you.
the best.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I try.
I'm going to
Good.
bed
And
now,
I really
though.
Go
appreciate
to
all of y'all
sleep,
too. This
Nikita.
has been very nice. We were saying that earlier that this is like there's a real sense of like community and camaraderie that comes out of this, but it doesn't have all the stress of me like going to a meeting and sitting in a room full of
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
So it's
Oh
been
no.
very nice.
Oh, actually, you'd like this. This was amazing. Somebody really screwed my character over in D&D today, and I cursed him at the table, and I said, "May all your future Zoom meetings be ones that could have been an email."
That is a good curse, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to me, like it'd be the may all of your Zoom meetings become in-person meetings. That would, at
Ooh.
least in a Zoom meeting, I can like, I don't know, multitask, pretend not to be there, turn the volume way down. Oh no, no, I totally heard you guys. Yeah, no, sorry, I was just distracted. Yeah, never mind. I turned the volume off.
All right.
A
Well,
lot harder in
good
person
night.
to tune people out.
All right. Well, have a great day.
No, thank
And
you.
all the love to everyone.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure to see you. Liam, I want to check in with you of how long. Oh, I don't like being big. JBS, you're used to being big. I'm not. I want to the box. I like all of your books in the
You can
panel
change the format to
so that
align.
I'm
Change
small
your format, Liam.
box.
Oh, I didn't change anything at all. It looks like nothing changed. You're still a tiny little box in the corner.
Oh, that's perfect because on my side it doesn't. On my side it looks like 4 equal boxes. This
Interesting.
is
Okay, then
I can.
then the grid thing worked for some people and not others. Because I see myself and then 3 small boxes on the side.
Oh no,
So
it's all 4 equal boxes. I will take a picture of this and text it to you
like
of what
this,
it looks like
layout will okay
for
when
me.
guest connects route was
But
shown. Let somebody else join and see if it fixes from that. Because it's giving me weird messages here, and it's changing nothing on my end at all.
let's see. Well, someone has to request, or I can send an invite. Oh wow, we have 4 guest requests. Okay, let's see.
Okay, cool. Let's see if that fixes it for
Oh
y'all.
yeah. There we go. And then it
Okay,
just like
cool. Yeah,
popped back
it
to
changed.
its normal.
Yeah, it changed nothing at all for me. So you got to let me know. Like TikTok's having issues here. Nothing is my screen is looking exactly the same the whole time.
Yeah, that was very strange. I would like to, do you need a drink? And then how late do you want to go? I know that this is like the best, you said that this is the best part of your day. And to be honest, this is like one of the best parts of my day too. But I want to check on you. And if you want to cheers, before we head to Emily and then JBS and then Annie.
Yeah, yeah, it is nice. So I don't mind that. But before we started, I was determined to keep it kind of short today. Um, but I'm also kind of comfy right now, so this is cool. And I'm still in the background, like moving and deleting things. So it's fine for now. Yeah, we can just play it by ear, but
Okay.
probably not too late. Maybe I don't know, a couple hours, 2.5 hours, and more, and then we'll be done.
Sounds good. Do you have everything that you need? Should we cheers to your birthday? And apparently it's Annie's anniversary too.
Oh, how
So
cool is that?
happy anniversary to Annie and her hubby, who is usually in the chat with us too. So yeah, just cheers, happy birthday. I don't
Yeah,
I,
I've got some apparent unboxing to do. We could do that at some point, because I've got this thing here. I don't know. I have no idea what this is, but this was in my this arrived in my box today. And then I don't know what this is. I don't know if this is from somebody here or something that I ordered and forgot, but there's apparently a book here. And then the only one that's very obvious, this one has Meg's name on it, but that's all I've got. I don't know what it is either, so I can open things up if anybody wants.
well, it's up to you. I wanted to check on you and then kind of head through the panel, and then do you want to like do the unboxing at the end and then close it out? Does
Well,
that sound like a
if
plan?
people are, it'd probably be better if anybody knows whose these are, and I could open them while somebody is here, because I don't want people to disappear. Because the whole reason I didn't open them is to see if somebody wanted to see me like open it, because that's people often like that when they give a
Oh yeah.
gift. So I thought
Meg wants to be there when you open hers. So I'm just gonna follow you with whatever feels best for you then.
okay, cool. Yeah, I've still got about a third of a cup of water. I'll have to get some in a bit, but not immediately. That's huge.
All right, go ahead, Emily. I know that you wanted to go, and I'm here. I'll just be listening.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can, dear.
Okay. Who's Chewbacca? Thank you. What?
There's Chewbacca. I could swear I heard you say Chewbacca.
She's an amazing content creator and educator. If you don't follow her, definitely want to follow her.
Cool.
I think I do follow her. Okay, anyway, I came up to go over the mail stuff, the unboxing.
Okay.
Because 2 of them are like 2-part gifts. Or not gifts, but you'll see. You can like rip into everything.
There are 3 things total. One looks like a book, one is like an envelope sized thing, and the other is I have no idea what this is.
So it's the Meg thing and the bigger item.
Okay, so the Meg envelope and the larger item go together.
Sort of. They're like
Okay.
a group effort. You'll see.
All right. So is there an order to this then? Should I open the envelope?
Danny? I think the envelope. Because everyone who was involved with that is here except Nikita, but she needs to sleep. She'll be fine.
So
envelope. Yeah, the Meg envelope.
Okay.
Oh, but Meg wanted to be
she
let
wanted
up.
to come up.
Yeah, she wanted to be let up. So I'm gonna drop down and then I'll let Meg up real quick. So she can be here.
You want to drop me?
Erica, you stay there.
Yeah, drop
Erica,
me
you
and
stay
then
there.
let Meg come up. I'll come back once he's done.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah. I'll give way. I'll come back.
And Meg, request up while we do this.
This is lagging really bad for me. I'm gonna leave and come back real quick. It's like super messed up.
Okay.
Well, they're all leaving and come back. Well, they're all leaving and coming back.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
I know you just have water there and you're not drinking anything in your special coffee, but it is my anniversary and it is your birthday and I wanted to cheers with you, not to me, but for us for surviving all of this and making it another go round your life and my year in marriage. So I love you and bottoms up.
I could open a nice bottle of wine.
Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it.
I'll open up one of the ones that I've been sitting on for a while. I'll be right back.
Happy anniversary. Cheers. Is Meg up? Meg, are you there?
Thank you. Yes, Meg's here. Hi, Meg. I love you.
Hey, girl. Hey. Love you guys too. Oh my gosh. I'm super excited. My palms are a little sweaty, though. I'm not going to lie. I got sweaty palms.
You know, I love giving gifts. And while Liam is away, I want to tell you just a super quick story about a gift that I remember so vividly driving to my very good friend's house to give her this gift. And I was crying because I knew it was one of those, we were both at a retreat with Thich Nhat Hanh. I don't know if some of y'all know him, but he's was an amazing Vietnamese Zen monk. He actually won the Nobel Peace Prize, nominated by Martin Luther King Jr. He was a phenomenal human being, and he used to do a retreat in Colorado every year. And so I got to spend time with he and his community, and he had these choreographies, y'all, they were like $30. It was like this calligraphy with him doing it. And my very close friend who like took these vows with Thich Nhat Hanh, and so I was able to get one of these calligraphy and got it framed for her. And I just like to this day, she's like, Erica, if my house was on fire, I'd run in and like grab that calligraphy first, which I don't know. I think giving like the right gift to someone is just so sweet. So I appreciate y'all. I wanted to tell that story apparently.
That's amazing. That's like ultimate gift satisfaction.
One of the things I love about oh my God, did everybody go?
Is this Minerva?
Can y'all hear me?
I hear you.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
I lost everybody on my screen, but that's because I'm in the Misty Mountains of Colorado. I was just gonna say, what I love about everybody in this room right now is that 90, maybe 9% of us are neurodiverse, and we all know that we all are great and love to give gifts, but we hate and suck at getting them. So as soon as he's like going through all of this, we all know that like he's gonna feel awkward and we're gonna feel awkward and everyone's gonna feel awkward and nobody's gonna care.
That is so true. It's so weird. Is you guys' screen like dark blue and orange?
Yeah, it's blank and it's still not letting me bring JBS back up. It's saying, well, hopefully he comes back.
Liam's using an older phone, so I'm guessing it's like a compatibility thing, or does that happen?
Well, I think it's also like, it just feels like it's glitch talk really, really bad. What Nikita say? It was being held together by chewing gum. Is that what she said?
Bubble
said
gum.
Duct tape,
really
yeah.
Duct tape.
Duct tape.
Okay, yeah, so JBS is saying he needs to close out and come back in.
Fun.
Well, maybe we'll.
Yeah, like all the text is to the far left. I can't scroll up or down. It's really bizarre right now.
held together like a Boeing aircraft. I can't. Annie.
Annie.
That's amazing. Maybe there's another solar storm. It's the solar maximum, isn't it? I think it is.
Yeah, and Dharma Soul, while we're figuring out some of this, thank you, thank you, thank you. You are so talented and so wonderful. Oh, all the books are back. Okay, so the books are back. Oh, hi, Woken Shell.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Nice to see you.
Likewise. I know you were waiting for quite a while.
That's okay. I'm just enjoying. It's no problem. No rush. No problem.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I know Annie and JBS, we need to figure out this panel thing. But Meg will open up this and then we'll go to Emily, if that's all right. And then we can
Of course. And you could drop me.
Yeah. You're wonderful.
My sweaty palm. Drop me in my sweaty palms.
Are we friends? Do you have another? Have we been friends on this app for a very long time? Is your backup and my backup friends? Do you have another account, Meg?
I do. Yeah.
Have we been friends for like a really long time on this app?
Possibly.
I think we have. Okay.
Possibly.
Okay. I'll message you on that one.
I'll shoot you a message on Discord with my backup name.
Sounds good.
Where did you go? Oh.
Now I wish I had some wine, but I'm not allowed to buy box wine at Costco anymore. That is not a thing that I am allowed to do.
Did Costco ban you?
No, I am banning me.
I was about to be very impressed.
I mean, boxed wine isn't very good, but does it matter much? It's still fine.
I mean, red wine is red wine for me. But yeah, with the boxed wine, I can't tell how much I drink, and being the only adult, it's just very dangerous.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm really picky on whites, but I'm not as picky on reds. I tend to like all reds. Some are definitely better than others, but I can drink 2 Buck Chuck if it's red wine.
Same.
Honestly, the Snoop wine is fire. I don't know if y'all
around since the 90s.
I don't know if you guys tried the Snoop wine. It's fire. The Red Cali, amazing. Snoop wine.
Are you saying Snoop like Snoop Dogg?
Yes, Snoop wine. Yes.
Fascinating.
Snoop Dogg wine.
That's
the Red Cali, fire.
Wow.
Okay, I'm gonna go search out Snoop Dogg's wine, just like y'all should go search out Snoop Dogg's affirmation song that he has for children. You should definitely have a little devil's lettuce and listen to Snoop Dogg's affirmation song. You'll be in a much better mood, I promise.
That's another good.
Not that y'all are in great moods. I'm always in a bad mood.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, if you remember, throw the Snoop wine into the Discord. Maybe I should make a food and beverage recommendations thing on the Discord for people to post, like, cool drinks and devil's lettuce drains. I've had this one once before. It's a Sangiovese cab blend, but this bottle's been sitting there for 8 years, so it seemed suitably old that I could open it up without being super old.
Well, can I bring you right back up? Can I let Annie up and then I'll let you right back up? I'm so sorry. I think that Annie wanted to cheers for her anniversary. Is that okay?
Yeah, no problem. And happy birthday.
Okay.
I'll be back. I'm around. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
You gonna drop me?
I'm just slow on my phone. I'm sorry, y'all.
Ah! Damn it! Okay.
Oh no. Oh, yeah. Let's just hope that you okay? Well, send good vibes to Liam.
Do you think his phone overheated?
I think that there was a wine spell.
Oh, he's back.
Sort of. I think there's still some wine on the phone itself because it keeps bouncing around. So I think it's got liquid on the screen.
Well, Liam, whatever we can do to support you.
Well, I have an entire glass of wine to clean up. It's everywhere.
Do you want to clean it up and restart? What?
Well, I'm doing it. I'm
Okay.
cleaning. So sorry,
Okay.
I can't be on the screen
Oh, no,
because
you're
there's
good. You're good. Well, maybe I'll just do a little bit of distraction because there were several things that Cactus was saying that I felt was very on point. And I think a lot about people being in cults. And maybe that's just because I have a very long, impressive CV of cults. But I keep coming back to this idea or this feeling of when people both have to have the willingness and the capacity to grow and change. And if they don't have both, and that they're when the fear of what they might discover when they start deconstructing or start really questioning their beliefs and the relationships, friendships, families, community, everything that will change because of that. I think it's really, really difficult for most people to do that. And I think, yeah, it's like noticing the waters that we swim in. So I think a lot of people are like, what? I have a possible guest appearance for Doc on this topic for another live. Yeah, definitely, Nikki.
Yeah, that's a good connection between the distinction between political ideologies and religious cults is a lot thinner than people tend to think. So yeah.
Yeah, and I have a much broader idea of cults than I previously have. And I like to think of really any belief that you're not willing to question, really should be looked at. You know, if it's like, ooh, that's like, who would I be if I questioned this? You know, if I questioned my religion, or if I questioned my gender, or if I questioned whatever, you know, like whatever it is that helps us feel a sense of self, that we think is so solid. And then when we can actually ask those questions. But yeah, I mean, I'm really, and I'm talking about that differently than just the belief of religion versus like the institutional that is developed around it, because that I'm always against. Like,
Can I say something while we're? Oh, damn, he came back. I was gonna say, can I say something while we're looking at the chair so there's no eye contact, but he can't see me either.
please go, Annie.
So we've all talked about being on this. A lot of us have talked about being on the spectrum someplace, and I have found that in the last 2 years, I have started to deconstruct socially, religiously, economically, all of the leads, right? Since I found out that all of the things that I felt inside, we talked about this a while back about me not having an identity, blah, 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 blah. All of this is leading to me cheering you for your birthday, letting you know that I wanted to tell you that your next ring around the planet, in this cheers, that I have learned from you in this time that we have been associated. When I asked you initially the first time I came on your show, and you say that like it's a show, that where you have aligned yourself emotionally, socially,
Is that cutting out for anybody else?
In your decisions about where. Yeah.
Yes, she has bad internet.
Okay, yeah. I wasn't even sure at first if she was talking to me, but I finally figured it out. But it's cutting in and out.
Can you hear me now? Well, I have no bars
Yes.
of death. All of this was saying that I have learned that when I asked you initially, when I first came on your show, and I did say show, that, where do you feel if your autism has led you where you are socially and educationally? And I wanted to tell you on your birthday, for your birthday in the next ring around, and my relationship in the next ring around with my husband, that you have helped me form through your education a new way to be married with my husband in the autistic social justice manner. And I wanted to give a cheers to that.
Oh.
Because I didn't have a social emotional, I still don't have a social emotional identity. Like I said, I see my vagina, that's how I know I'm a girl. I have feelings about things. I don't have a connection to an identity as a socialist, communist, anything, or, Democrat, Republican, I don't have a connection to any of that. And you gave me, in my social experience, the permission through your identity in being able to adapt and not be capitalist identity of what I'm supposed to be through an autistic lens, has helped make me a better wife. I don't know if any of that makes any sense to anybody other than me, but my husband and I had talked about it all day, and I didn't know if you were going to be on tonight and if I could even relay this to you, because I didn't know. But there's a portion of you that has given me permission to be myself through my own not knowing I was autistic, and my parents did, that gave me permission to not fall into a group socially, so that I don't know if I'm making any sense, but I hope that there are 35 people in here that may know what I'm trying to say.
I think so. Yeah, and yeah, if this has helped, then that's great. Thank you. I'm glad that I'm glad that things have gotten better in that sense. That you feel more comfortable or confident in that part of the relationship. Then yeah, that's fantastic.
I love you. Bottoms up.
Thank you.
Cheers. Happy anniversary.
I gotta put this where cats can't possibly get to it again. So
now I'll
I
drop
think
down and get out of
that's.
everybody's hair so more important people can come up and have an actual conversation.
Oh, Annie, you're wonderful. But I think that's one of the most like valuable things that we can give as human beings. And Liam gives that so effortlessly that he makes it look easy, where you give people the permission to be themselves. Like you are just a very, like, when I think of Carl Rogers and the like unconditional positive regard is the number one thing a therapist can give. But even as a friendship, like you just give that space for people to be. And I think that is such a beautiful gift, and you do it so effortlessly. And so that's
thanks.
just a huge
Yeah, I
compliment.
probably don't know that I'm doing it, so it must be without, it must be without effort, I guess, if I don't know what I'm doing. Because yeah, when you started saying that, I was thinking, is that just because is that just because I'm comfortable being like open and vulnerable? Is that what does it? Because I'm not
Yeah.
sure what it is.
Yeah, I think I think that you
Thank
so
you.
Oh, go ahead, Annie.
You just jumped to the same spot. It's a good thing I moved that glass.
I was just gonna.
You are impossible. You are impossible. Impossible, cat. You get feline torture for that. Yeah, there you go.
That you were yourself. You were yourself so fearlessly, and I didn't have the ability to be myself fearlessly until I saw somebody else fearlessly being themselves. Um, and I know I keep bringing things back to autism, and I hate doing that because I don't want to coin you that way, but I feel like you gave me permission for my autistic self to be my autistic self in a sphere where I didn't feel like I I'm going to shut up anyway. You are, like we said before, you are an intellectual and you struggled to do the emotional side of things, and I live in the emotion and I struggle to do the intellectual side. And when I came across you, I learned that I was also intellectual, and I didn't have to hide that to be other things, and that freed a lot of things up in my marriage. And when you said that you had struggled in marriage because you didn't have the emotional side of things on a lot of levels, I I wanted to extend to you that you helped me, the emotional autist, be an intellectual inside my marriage.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, it's not that the one or the other side isn't there. I have the same emotional range as everybody else. It's just that I I express it differently. My what I'm looking for and what I give is a bit different. So people need to be a lot more specific in terms of what they need from me so that I kind of get it. But yeah, it's definitely been a struggle because I'm very comfortable in one mode and in expressing myself and clarifying my points in one way, but not really in another in a way. Yeah, I struggle to explain or to articulate anything about my emotional side. It's there, but I often lack the words for it. So you're right in that, and this is something you said from the very beginning. We come at this, from the opposite strength, you know. I'm very comfortable articulating myself in a ton of areas, but when it comes to what are you feeling right now? I don't know. I'm sitting here, my butt's sore. I mean, what? I don't know. I don't know what to say or in tons of circumstances like that, you know? So it's definitely been a challenge in its own way. I think the key in any good relationship is people really being willing to be, I guess, okay with you and work with you rather than setting hard expectations that you be what they already want or expect. You know, because if I need it to be such and such, then I'm imposing a condition on somebody else. It's not really going to work well. You know, because we're all a little different. You know, I think really good relationships have that kind of sense of mutual support and trust and understanding where, hey, we come from a different place and we can respect each other and respect the challenges to get there and work with each other in order to get those things that we all need. But I think people really need to have that sense of like openness, right? So yeah, it just it can it can take real effort. So I'm
Dual standpoint.
I think you lost your bars again.
I did. I'm going to drop down. I love you. Happy birthday. Thank you for helping my
Oh,
marriage. And I just
thanks.
wanted to all the
Hey,
all the I love yous and all the I love yous because you don't know what you've done for me. So I'm going to
oh,
drop down and happy birthday. You're the best. And my husband is jealous of you.
Happy anniversary.
thanks. I mean, again, anything that helps in it, then yeah, I'm happy to have helped. However, you know, I did. So yeah, thank you. That's very sweet. Uh,
Yeah, there were some onions that were just in here. So I don't know if I have some feelings with that. Meg, I'm gonna go off camera and hopefully it's gonna help. And then if you want to open the package, the card, I think now would be a really good time for that.
alrighty. Chat. There's so much extra stuff squeezed onto the desk here because of what I'm trying to do with the computers and the phone. So she does not fit. Does not understand why.
And Woke and Chill, I'll bring you back up. Thank you so much. Appreciate you so much.
Let's see. Please open on May 17th. Signed, The Breakfast Club. Get a nice little 80s reference here.
That was Meg. Meg did that.
You want to know what I did to get here? Nothing. I didn't have anything better to do.
Oh, actually, that was like me and Meg. I
Let's
helped.
take. Let's see. Let me do that.
Yeah, so this is my ghetto envelope. Just full disclosure, I taped some stuff together. You know, good luck getting into that.
Yeah.
That's
Go night,
secure.
Andy. Feel it up. Top. Oh, the picture. All right, there we go.
This item has a PDF
Oh,
part
there's
to
one.
it that will arrive later.
A PDF.
Yes.
there's a
It's
there's a digital
multimedia.
instruction booklet. Download user manual later.
Something like that.
How about I just stick this on you? Boop. Deal with that. Ah, ah. He's got tape hanging off her.
Minerva? Does she respond more to Minerva or Minerva?
Anything, either of those, and to just Nerva.
Nerva.
I'll just say Nerva. Yeah, she's heard all three so often that she comes to teach them the same way. Yeah. I wish you've been hearing that from me for, gosh, what is it now? 13 years? You've been around for a while. Oh, look at that! There's a kitty painting. How cool is this?
Meg painted that. Meg is a brilliant
I
artist.
did. That is a watercolor.
Look at the pussycat.
Meg is an incredible artist.
This is cool. Definitely have to frame that.
So what we did is, since we're all over the place,
yeah.
And not everyone can sign physically, we just printed out the message and the signatures, just kind of put it in there.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that's what these slips are. Yeah. So, should I just read these, or should I read them out loud, or what?
That's up to you. It's completely up to you.
That's fine with me. Can you show the printed part to the phone? Because I haven't seen it, but I put it together.
Printed part? What do you mean, like the text, or
wait,
or the slips?
Oh, the slips. The little thing with handwriting on it.
Yeah. There's these in here, and then there's some handwriting inside the card.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know if people. I don't know if anything was like private or something. Anybody cares? I can just read them out. So
I read all of them. Meg read all of them. We know everybody's business.
Yeah, nothing is weird.
Oh, we'll share it the entire.
Why I wanted to be the one to handle the file.
There's moist cake. I haven't seen for a while. Yeah. TikTok banana, the other one. It'll be nice if I ever get it back, but I haven't. Oh, somebody asked earlier if I was gonna re-upload old videos to the new account. I may do that, or at least some of them, but not all of them. But I haven't gotten around to it. Let's see. So, signatures. So let's see. Professor Liam, and there's in quotes, "It's not diamonds that are a girl's best friend, but it's your best friends who are diamonds." Oh, how cool is that? Hey, you can't have this. I know that's your face on it, but you still can't have it. Thank you so much for the community you have built. It's been amazing not only learning from you, but having a little clan of like-minded individuals. We sincerely thank you for office hours and future projects. I hope you have a fabulous 50th birthday. Enjoy the Minerva watercolor. I tried to capture her sass. We all may walk life individually, but we are never walking alone. Happy birthday, dear friend. I hope you have an amazing day. Aw. So that's what's written in here, along with sass right here. This is you. This is you knocking my wine over, and then looking at me like, yeah, what are you gonna do about it? That's you.
She kind of created the introduction. I'm not gonna lie, she did. She built that up.
Yep. Let's see, and then there's some text on the back and a little scanned part. It looks. Let's see. From Nikita has, "Dear Prof, happy birthday. Thank you for being such an excellent and most admirable wizard," I think. Okay. Most admirable wizard. Let's see. Please see reverse. "Happy birthday, Professor Liam. Your TikTok page has become the highlight of my weeks for learning and laughs. Thank you for making even the most complex history easy to understand. Your passion for what you do and believe in, the way you stand up for what is right, is very inspiring. Thank you for being the voice of reason and justice that we all need. As you celebrate another year, I hope you can take some time to do something special just for you. You certainly deserve it. Thank you again for all you do. You're such a cool person." Cool person. "And I'm so grateful to have found you. All the best." And this one is Bird. So we've got Nikita and Bird here. That's cool. That's neat. I don't know that I've ever been called cool. probably happened at some point by somebody crazy enough to say it, but it's definitely not a common expression for me. I was never one of the cool kids. That's cool. All right. All right. So that's there, and then so that's 3. It's here, and then more slips, more slips. Let's see. All right. And then this one is Emily. Happy birthday, Liam. Time is an illusion. I'm so grateful that you continually put yourself out there as a sort of homing beacon for other weird, kind, neurodiverse folks, despite the cloud of trolls that descends on you every other day or so. The community that's formed around you has become very dear to me. I consider you a real friend despite meeting you on the Chinese dancing app for children. I look forward to many more awkward Risa jokes, your forthcoming books, and whatever other shenanigans find us. Kapla, Emily. Nice closing there.
Oh, that's how you pronounce it.
Klingon.
Emily, I was reading that word like 800 times, and I was like, nope, I'm not gonna get it.
That's okay. It's not for you to know, but you can become my chadich, which means someone who will defend my honor, I think.
That's great.
I'll do that.
But it's
How
also,
do you
it's
say
also
that
like
again?
a buddy. It's also like a bestie, like a bro. But you defend their honor. That's a chadich. Okay, Danny.
Then let's see, from Danny, we've got Dr. Liam. I hope you know how appreciated you are. I also hope you can read my handwriting okay. When we take a stand in life, our critics notice us, but so do potential friends and allies. I'm happy you take a stand in life, and I'm happy to stand with you. It's a pleasure to continually learn from you, Doc. Have an amazing birthday. Oh, thanks. Yeah, the handwriting thing, you get used to student random. I can read anything by this point.
There are more notes, but that's the PDF component.
And then there's looks like 2 more here. Let's see. Happy birthday, happy 50th turn around the sun, Erica, on the top here. And then dearest Professor Liam, you are so honored, so respected, and so loved. May your blessings be plenty now and always. Love, Dharma. So that's 2 more here. I think that's all of them.
And welcome, Dharma. We've been waiting
Oh,
for you. Good morning, Dharma. Thank you for
yeah, good
joining
morning.
us. We love you and appreciate you.
Thank you.
This is so cute.
Isn't that just the best card ever? The best card art ever.
Okay,
Look at that. Identical.
look forward.
Yeah, I learned her markings a little bit.
It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect, Meg.
Meg is seriously really talented, and I want her. I don't know if you've shown that art that you sent me, but Meg is just excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is great. I really appreciate
show
that.
too much.
I've always really respected people who can draw. I don't know how or why it's happened so often that I've ended up dating or marrying artists too, because I can draw only stick figures, like, and even that not very well. So it just somehow like balances out. I think somehow I'm attracted to people who can draw because it's not really intentional, but it just I've always really respected it. I have it'll definitely be framed and hung up here too. I've got a bunch of pieces from friends over the years, tons of pieces of art around the house that from different people, so it'll go up there.
Awesome, I appreciate that. You have a Meg original.
Yep, I do now. The original. And let's get that here. I'm gonna let Jesus protect it over here. I'll just put it over there.
That's fitting because the trash panda god painted it. So it's like a little shrine.
Let's see. Okay, now and now I'm supposed to go to the big one. Is that was the order for this, right? Now it's this humongous thing.
Yeah, the one that has an odd shape to it.
Yes, the one that you're very curious about. Yes, I know. Very curious. Let's see what it is. Let's see. How does it work? I could probably do those really slow, dramatic unboxing shows things. When people give me like the holiday presents, I'm always like carefully undoing the tape and folding it back, disassembling the wrapping carefully. Oh, look at this.
Danny, are you still here?
This brim is humongous. This is a huge hat. Look at this. That is
Holy
huge.
shit. That's amazing.
Yeah, Danny, if you're still here, if you can come up, we would love to have you up here
This
for
is
this.
massive.
Yes, this is Danny.
I'm gonna drop down so Danny can come up.
He says he's content. I don't know what that means in wherever he's from, the Midwest. The one that starts with I. Indiana.
Well, happy birthday. I'm glad you enjoyed the card. I'm gonna drop down so Danny can come up.
Oh, this little,
Ned, your painting is amazing.
there's little bits of it's like little pieces of reinforcement in here to try and give it some shape higher.
All right, man. How does it feel?
This is amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely a good size. Yeah, no, it perfectly fits front to back.
Yeah, it looks good on you, man.
This might be another two-part gift.
This was like so random. They were talking about some like hat pull they did or something, and you didn't have one of these, and I was like, dude, I'm on this. This is my job now.
It was the most attractive wizard pull.
This is great.
Yes, that's it.
You can do all kinds of funky. Look at that. Kinds of nifty stuff with this.
Yeah.
Danny,
I was trying to be so sly. I was like asking you questions, trying to figure out some way I could like find something for you. I remember asking your hat size. I was like, man, I hope I don't screw this up because if it's too small, it's going to be a huge bummer.
Oh, this is great. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. No, this is perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Front to back is always the hard part with my head. And you can always it slides a little on the sides. I've got those little things you can put on the sides here.
Yeah. I figured bigger was probably better than smaller.
Yeah, exactly. Most hats I've got they're too small, and I have to use the hat jack. I've a hat stretcher that I use every day to push most of them out.
Yeah, awesome.
That's because you're Irish.
Now
Look at that.
Comic Con.
Painting with hats. Someone's asking if that's the name. Here's that. Here's my wizard's familiar. Right. Wizard needs a familiar.
Perfect.
Wizard's familiar. This is you. Yeah. That's the hat. This is what was in that package. What do you think?
Good job, Danny. Good job.
Yeah, this is great.
Great job.
I'm happy you like it, man.
Never had a giant floppy wizard's hat. Now I got to do some Gandalf cosplay.
Yes.
It is on Gandalf.
We need to do that for sure.
Who brought the pipe weed?
So,
finest weed in the South Farthing.
Erika, drop me for JBS, please.
No, Dharma, you stay up. Danny, is it okay if I drop you for JBS?
No.
Perfect.
I can. Oh, he dropped.
Why am I staying now? I was down in the comments.
Good morning, Dharma, because we appreciate you and we're so happy to have you.
Thank you so much. Well, I was here a couple of times and so wasn't on, and then I went to sleep because like I haven't slept for a while. And then I came at 4 o'clock, which is like I don't know how long you guys have been on, but so I came
I started
at
really
like
late.
4, which is like an hour ago.
Yeah, I started this up 3 hours later than I usually do on Fridays. So it
Yeah,
hadn't
we
been that long.
Well,
started
wasn't it
we
late?
started late and we started talking about some liberals and we went into some history and stuff. And so
Yes.
you came at just the perfect time, Dharma.
Oh yeah, because like Cactus was here and the conversation was really heavy and like, oh, okay, maybe I need to sleep some more. I don't know.
I mean, I always appreciate a cactus for the truly random questions. It's always fun. Never know where they're gonna go.
Yes.
And it definitely woke me up a little bit because I've been so distracted with the damn computer stuff. So that was nice.
And welcome, JBS. Thank you for being so patient. Oh my goodness.
No
Look,
worries.
Emily, Dharma, JBS.
I won't stay on too long because I think everyone else deserves to be up here. I wanted to wish you a happy birthday, man. Um, I'm so glad that you and I have met, and I've gotten connected with this network. I got to tell you, a shout out to everyone that's come up on this panel. They have worked tirelessly to put together the gift, and the multiple gifts. And I was telling Liam the other day that you've built such a great network here of folks, and he called you all groovy. That was his word, groovy. And I was telling him how excited that we're all together, like at the beginning of everything, and look forward to like our journey together. But your birthday, man, God bless. I'm so grateful for you. I was just telling my daughter how thankful I am. I've gotten to know you, everyone else. I wish you all the best, all the health and prosperity. I've learned so much, and I know people that come join your lives learn so much. And the great thing about you is you love connecting with people, and that is so magnetic because you create a safe environment, an environment where people can ask questions and get responses that are thoughtful, that are clear in nature and really helpful to move forward in whatever objective they have. So, happy birthday to you. And Dharma, I got to say, man, that video that you did. I've listened to it several times, and just amazing job. And I'll be honest, guys, a little bit of vulnerability here. I have a hard time keeping up with Discord. When I get in there and I see 99 messages that I missed, I'm like, oh my God. Because I also use Slack, I use Gmail, I use LinkedIn, I use Teams. So you can imagine all the different communication that's coming my way. And I'm trying to keep up with you all. You guys have it mastered, but I won't stay up too long. And Autistic Annie, happy anniversary to you. My brother, we need to reschedule our lunch date. You gotta let me know. I know you had a lot going on with your tech stuff. So let me know before we head out of town. And then I'll look forward to the invite for tomorrow.
Yeah, oops, uh-oh. Yeah, I'll get it sent out the first thing in the morning. I just
Yeah, I know, Nikki. It's crazy.
And JBS, you're welcome to stay up. There's no one
Oh,
in the requests right now, so just up to you. Just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. I'm going to drop. I have some work to get done, and I'm going to finish my workout routine. And I've got to shoot a couple of videos. But I wanted to. You send it whenever you're ready, Liam. Enjoy your birthday tonight, man. And
yeah, thank you.
drink a couple of glasses of wine on me. For me.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I yeah, I have to get up early in the morning to set everything up, to get the stuff out to you, and then when you first come in, we'll have to do a quick test on its recording video because I know the way it'll download, it'll have us individually, but I want it also to make sure it can record both together, so I can alternate the three views when we do the edits.
Okay.
So,
I'll be there.
but yeah, I'll get everything configured in the morning, send out the invitation. When you hop in, we'll do a quick test, and then we should be able to get going.
Roger that. All right, y'all. Have a great night. Be blessed. Take care of each other. First and
Thank
foremost,
you.
though, take care of yourselves. Bye now.
Thank you.
So sweet. Oh my
You
goodness.
know, as we were working on that video, then like as we were working on the video, everybody was dropping their birthdays. Well, my birthday's in September. I'm a Leo. Well, I'm in June. So and so now everybody's like, I'm getting a video, right? I'm getting a video. It's like, yes, that will now be my contribution to everybody is a birthday video.
That's
It's like no, but
I mean,
you
once
know.
once once you do it, and people figure out. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, no, but
You're
it's
stuck
like, you
now.
know what? No, that wasn't the intention really. It was more just, we like things at a distance, but we also just, I think we like things at a distance, but we also want to be included. But like, sort of invite me, but like, I might not come, but invite me. That situation. So I thought, what better way to add everybody all together at a distance and still share the love, but like be
Yeah,
far away enough to sort of give space. and
yeah,
and
no,
and so,
that's
you
neat.
know,
It puts people all together in one place. Yeah, that's really cool that way.
yes, I think we're all like that, being a bit neurospicy. It's like sort of like, I want to be loved, but no, 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 not too close, not too close. Go away, back off, back off. So it's that type of thing. And so, and it was just a way for all of us to come together and to show you your honor and your love, the way that we love you and the way that we, feel so special around you because you make us feel special, you know?
Oh, well,
You
thanks.
No, because you're just you. You're just look, I don't try to be anything. I'm not anything. I'm just who I am, and this is how I am, and this is how I show up. And so you've given us permission to do that also. That it's sort of like I'm just who I am. I don't pretend to be anything else, and I can't be anything else even if I tried. And I have tried, and I
Right.
failed. And so this is just me.
And we shouldn't have to try. Yeah, exactly. Just be yourself, and good people will find and love you. That's it.
That's it.
We're people are always convinced they need to just jump through certain hoops and be this, that, or the other thing. No, just be who you are.
That's
And
it.
you'll attract the right kind of person because otherwise you're I hate when I see this for people dating too, because people are always giving like dating advice, and then you're supposed to act in certain ways. Like, no, be exactly who you are, because otherwise you're setting up a false expectation if you're like trying to
Yes.
do something different to begin with. Like just
Yes.
always be yourself.
And I find that is the pull towards you. That is part of your magnetism. The fact that you are so authentic that it's like we all just gravitate towards that because that is what everybody's looking for authenticity. And so we gravitate towards you because there's honesty with you. All of
Yeah,
us,
thanks.
all of us. We love you because you're honest like that. And so that is, I think, one of the most formidable things about you is that when it comes to truth and honesty and being authentic, you stand on business like no one I've ever seen. And I really, really, no, I really appreciate that.
my
It's sort of,
my my mother's head would be spinning right now because she's the like polar opposite in all this. She's always like, "Why can't you be normal? Why can't you be like other people?" Like
but this is your
you should
normal.
you should cut your hair and dress more normally. And like, why do you act so weird? And like, I'm not.
but,
I'm just this is what I am, and like
but
it is
this
what it is.
is your normal. This is your normal. This is your truth. And so it's like if you're going to stand beside that man or you're going to stand in that man's space, you've got to be the same. You've got to be the same authentic. And that is why I don't think that many people can stand beside you
Yep.
because they're not, they're
Sure
either
seems like
still
a lot of
trying to,
y'all do. Like,
yes,
we seem kind of like a fairly large collective, so.
yes, yes, because it's difficult to find that really. And so we've found that in you and you have found that in all of us. And so, it's like outside of you, we actually, when we gossip and we say, no, we're team, we're team Omega. We are, and we really are a team. The way we work together at such a distance, gosh, this team can go anywhere. And we are so glad that, we're around you because you're a really, really positive person to be around.
Oh, thank
Believe it
you.
or not. Yeah. And we love you. So thank you.
Dharma,
Yes,
you're
thank
making me cry on the internet. It's not even my birthday. You're
Why do
making
you think I'm not putting on my camera?
His best. But I no,
Someone's
Liam,
passing onions
his
around.
Dharma says it so perfectly because this is what you offer, and it allows so many people to find the acceptance within themselves to be them. And I love my therapist just said to me, normal is what she said, normal is setting on a washing machine.
Let's not talk about washing machine, Erica.
Normal,
Sir,
normal
don't
is
say
sitting
it.
on
Sir,
washing machines.
sir,
Normal
sir,
is
don't
sitting on
say it.
washing machines.
Sir, sir,
Yeah,
sir,
normal is
sir,
a setting on
sir,
washing machines, but
No,
like
no,
sir,
there's
normal
don't,
is sitting on
normal.
washing machines.
sir, don't, sir, please. Not right now.
Dharma, you got some splaining to do.
Oh gosh. Oh my word. Oh, I've got a lot of laundry,
Finishing.
but let's not get into that. No, no, no. Sir, you're not even going to tell right now. Terrible. I'll mute. I'll mute.
Oh, that's cute.
Oh, thank you,
Uh,
Dharma, for your putting the coordinating that you did and putting the video together. Dharma put a lot of time into that. So I just, Dharma, you are phenomenal. And for those, we really want to have everybody be included. And now that we have Discord open, so if you need a link into the Discord, just like a little mod thing,
idea.
please DM one of the moderators and we'll get you into the Discord. And there's lots of things that we can build in there. So, yeah.
No, people keep thanking me for the video. The video, that wasn't even hard. That was that was the fun thing to do. That was this Professor Liam's thingy was the fun thing to do because I'm always doing the pro-Palestinian videos for other groups and other people. So that's what I do. Yeah, you see. So when and Sir's like, Sir's like, what you doing? I'm busy making videos, and it's like this particular one was the fun thing, was the relaxing thing, was the breather. The things that you do out of love, that's the breather. And when it comes to Sir, we all do things out of love. So there.
Okay, yes, but also I had some round the clock DMs with Dharma, and people kept, including myself, mostly me, at the end when she was supposed to be done, we kept sending her more videos to edit in. So she'd render it, send it to us, and we'd be like, oh wait, SoulSpeak has a video. I have a video. I sent her 3 videos. I sent her probably 150 megabytes of video of me and Oppo.
Yeah,
But you
the
see,
blooper reel was great. So thanks for that.
Oh, good, you saw it. Did you see at the
Yeah,
end
yeah,
where I was like, Minerva's gonna see this, Oppo, and he
hmm
finally looked at
yep.
the
Turn
camera.
his head. Yeah, yeah.
but I think what it was also, Sir, was that, when we mentioned this, then many people were like, oh, I don't know, oh, I don't know, and, we all just said, listen, we're all, no one is more than the other, no one is less than the other. We're all together in this. And then people started to feel comfortable, I think, because I said, listen, you are loved, you are appreciated, and this is not going to be complete without you because you're part of the team. And then they were like, oh, okay, maybe. No, I said, no, not maybe. Okay, let's not go with that cock. Let's just send the video. And it was like, okay. And so everybody got included. And that was the lovely part because it wouldn't be complete without everybody who sent. I think it's just, we're a good group. We're a good family. And so it would have been incomplete, you know?
I'm
That's
out there
all.
with bringing the lash. You will be in the video. Send me something.
I mean,
Yes. And
I'm super grateful. I'm so grateful. Like for having to walk away from so many people repeatedly over my life and to find like-minded people where like especially in my area, like I am such a weirdo, y'all. Like I can put on makeup and smile and people think that I'm not such a weirdo, but like I appreciate y'all so much. So
And it was so weird because Sir's on camera and he's talking to us and and I'm like, stop moving around. Wait. And he's like, huh? I'm like, because I'm trying to take a good screenshot of like him laughing and smiling and, being, and he's like, he's talking and I'm like, wait. He's like, huh? Just hold on. I'm doing something here. What? I was just lost a little bit. It was such fun. It was such fun. I love being sneaky. I've enjoyed it. Thank you.
You, wine thief. Yeah, you, little wine thief.
Wow, Erica, what's that? Erica, are you under the weather today? You look different.
What is? Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's Now you look better before. Change your style back. You definitely look better before. That's it. No, that's no
Did you get a
human being
haircut?
should look like that other thing. No, that's. Mm-mm.
That's Dharma too. I love it.
Oh, so was this part of something that somebody else sent? I don't know if this is me or somebody else sent something else.
No clue.
But we can listen and see what it is.
We have like one keeper of the address, the P.O. box.
What is this? Oh, look at that. Huh. Of parrots and people. Hmm.
It's not me.
Another one for my critter show. Neat. Oh, the back's got blurbs from Franz de Waal and Jane Goodall.
It's not me and it's not Danny.
Well, it's someone who loves you.
And somebody who also likes parrots.
Is that your friend with the bird?
Maybe it's Bird.
Let's see. What's this? It's just a sticker. Tamara sent it. Yeah. Yeah, this is that the friend in Minnesota.
Thank you, Tomato.
I need
He
to
has
be
a
friends with her.
parrot too, Ms. Baraka. Nothing like saran wrap. Take me back to my grandmother's kitchen.
You got any kind of bubble wrap? Can you keep that for me? Because I love popping that stuff.
Yeah, it's just the cling wrap stuff. No
Oh,
bubble wrap.
and Woke and Chill, when I tried to let you up, it glitched out. So please, please, please come back. We want you
Yeah, it's
back.
been
And thank
super
you
glitchy today.
so much for your patience. It's so glitchy. So please re-request.
I think
I
tomorrow wants me to get a
I know
parrot.
it.
See my cats.
Oh, yay, you're here. Perfect.
I know it's glitchy. No worries. I'm here. So I want to ask someone, where did I miss all the party and getting together for the birthdays sending out? I mean, is it Discord? Like I'm feeling left out of the party.
We are so sorry.
It was like herding cats. Like we did this by vague consensus and
Yeah,
occasional
we
authoritarianism from me or Dharma.
We do not want to leave anyone out, but yeah, a lot of this was like organically on Discord. So Woke and Chill, if you need in the Discord, and this was like, we don't want to leave anyone out. But yeah, this like kind of organically, and you're so welcome to be here.
Thank you. No, I didn't mean to make anyone feel bad, and but I'm neurodivergent too. I fit in too.
Yes.
Awesome.
For everyone to know real quick, it
We appreciate
started as
you.
just me and Danny just trying to like buy one gift for Liam, and then it just spiraled and spiraled and spiraled into this chaos. So
cool. No, that's beautiful.
didn't mean to leave anybody out.
Happy birthday, and it's what I mean. I love it's wonderful to watch, guys. And Liam, I want to send you a gift too, and I will remind myself I need your email address. I'll send you a PDF, and I send you something to log into. But I'm gonna drag your attention into Eastern Europe because I'm Polish, so I need your help with understanding what's going on in freaking Ukraine.
Yeah, honestly, it'd be a lot of fun to get back to talking about a lot more of that stuff. Outside of my Modern Europe course, I do not get to talk about the region at all much, and I don't get to spend much time reading on it anymore either. So, you'll give me a good excuse to talk about things that actually interest me.
Good, thank you, because I need to understand.
So yeah, I'd love an excuse to read some more stuff. I'm gonna take this to the recycle bin because there's so little space right here right now.
So
And Woke, you're more than welcome in the Discord. So if you
I'm in. I'm walking cringy in Discord.
Perfect. And yeah, feel free to message any of us if you need help in Discord. I'm not the best at it, even though I've been on it for like a year now. I'm still not the best, but like feel free to message. I know it takes a little bit, but you're more than welcome. And one of the things I wanted to throw out too, maybe since some of us are here, is maybe Danny can help. I know that there's like ways to stream certain movies and certain things in Discord. So I was thinking that we could do like Israelism. I was trying to find that the other night. The movie called Children of the Light, which is the documentary on Archbishop Desmond Tutu that I was actually involved in. That I would love to rewatch that. I haven't watched that for a few years. I would love to rewatch that with some friends. So if there's ways that we can like stream some things,
that would be cool.
I have a movie night.
I've done those in Zooms with people. I've got some friends that do like a movie group or whatever, and they do them through Zooms. So yeah, if Discord does that, that's fantastic. We should definitely jump on that because it gives you a little chattel on the side. We can chat while we're watching the film. And I've got a huge collection of documentaries. I mean, I've got there's a whole drive of Mid East and Africa documentaries. So
Okay, so if you guys interested, because I don't know about you, but I'm the October 7th baby, and I just digging into the whole. So I'm now into economics and all the dynamics. I purchased, and that's what I wanted to offer Liam to watch. Is European the story or the political journey of Yanis Varoufakis. Are you familiar with Yanis? Someone of his friends.
I have several of his books.
Right. So I'm digging into his books. I'm catching up. I'm sorry. I was I was living in a jungle or somewhere. I didn't know nothing before. I thought it's beyond my understanding. And so I'm catching up. But some of his created a series about his journey, which not only makes it understand the European Union, insights of the corruption of European Union, but to me, he explains the economics of capitalism when it's dying, and like the series is called In the Eye of the Storm. I will say on Discord what it is. If you're interested, I purchased the series on Vimeo if we would like to watch it, but it's it's not like one sitting. It's like 45 minutes series, but I can share with you all guys,
that
with my
sounds
friends.
great. That sounds so up my alley.
And I love
econ documentaries. Yeah, so
Right,
yeah,
and
no,
I would
that'd be
love for
great.
you guys and for Liam and for you guys to chip in and have a discussion on economics and the political system. So I will say that on Discord. I'm sorry, and I'm also like, I'm old and I'm also behind, so drag me in, guys.
This kind of fits actually in with the radical reading group idea that I want to pitch. Once this thing with JBS gets off the ground, because I want to set up a kind of regular reading group thing where we pick several texts on the same basic topic, like different perspectives, different authors, whatever. Be different people like, oh, that sounds interesting. I'll read that one, and different people read them, and then the people who read a book on the list come onto a panel. So we'll put like the thing up. There's like 6 people talking, and we all take turns like presenting what are the key ideas in this text, and at the end we see like how are they similar, different? How do the ideas work together? What can we take out of it kind of holistically and build like a conversation around that? That's sort of my idea for that one. We could do something similar for films too. Do like a monthly movie night or whatever, or whatever, biweekly, or monthly. Like we'll get together, we'll watch a film, and then we'll have a little conversation about it. That could be a lot of
That
fun too.
that would be
I love it,
fantastic.
love it, love it.
That
And
would
it would
be
fit into the same kind of. It could fit into the same like. It could be part of like the same program series. Like it could go into the same like Triple R podcast, archive there. So it's like a mix of books and films. So maybe like in any given month, we have people working through books. So we're going to have like one of those weeks, we're going to have a discussion on books, and then we'll also have we'll watch a film, and then we'll have a discussion on the film. So like there'll be, one each per month or something like that. I don't know. Maybe we could do something like that.
I love it. And I know that Rebellious is just asking about Israelism. And Lindsay and I were talking about that earlier today because I actually went and tried to search out that movie just like a couple nights ago. And I couldn't find where I could stream it or anything like that. And so then I just kind of had this thought. I'm in another Discord where they kind of do some movie nights and things. And so
It
I
was
was
on
like,
YouTube
oh.
and they took it off. It was on YouTube and they took that off.
Yeah, I couldn't find where I could watch it, so it kind of felt like it was like in an in-between stage. But I was like, if anyone has Israelism, like that is one that I know that I would really like to watch, and I would like to watch with friends because it's better with
Mhm.
friends.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. There's a lot of good ones like that we could watch. In fact, there's some. Um,
You
yeah,
know,
the
actually, there was a creator that was actually showing movies on TikTok, and I came across and I watched with him The Road to Apartheid, and that was actually interesting too. He just put TikTok somehow to his screen or something, and that worked too. If something is on YouTube or something, I don't know, maybe on Vimeo too. I don't know how he did it because that's also above my technological pay grade. But that, TikTok does it. You could do it somehow. I don't know how.
almost did it again.
So what
You.
Oh,
happens
you
is if
caught
you
it.
have
Good catch.
like a panel with you and another screen, and then you have another phone, and then you stream it from that phone, and you wave it onto the panel. But with these streaming thingies, you've got to actually move your hand in front of it, pause it for a little bit, talk, because otherwise they'll ban you live.
Yeah, and the format's funky too, doing through TikTok versus a Zoom or a Discord or something where we can do it landscape. It's better for a film, I
Yes,
think,
yes.
especially if we're gonna record
Yeah,
these.
one that I did watch recently that it was TikTok that directed me was Tentora on YouTube. That was a very good documentary. That
Yeah, there's good stuff in that one. There's a there's a couple places where it's not. I mean, they're kind of on shaky ground, but a lot of it is really really good. They did a good job with that overall.
Oh, with Tantora, which part was shaky? I mean, you're probably
There's
like deep in the nuance of it.
Well, there a lot of the information for things like that. It depends upon old memories, oral history, things like that. And there are places where people's statements don't always line up properly with what we do know, like, physical evidence wise. But but that's true with anything that you're using oral histories in. Most of the material in there is actually really, really good, and does actually fit perfectly the physical evidence we have for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some of the few places where there was any real criticism for it were places where a couple of the things that they used weren't quite right. But again, overall, fantastic and definitely worth understanding. And there are so many towns and villages like that disappeared completely that we need to do that. I mean, honestly, kind of like leaning more heavily on a lot of that kind of material anyway is a good correction from the long-term denial of it. So it's much better than
Yeah. I
but yeah, there's a one while we're thinking of like docos like that too. Don't let me forget. I'd love to introduce you guys to Avenge but One of My Two Eyes, which I was in country for when they were preparing this, and the I was chatting with a lot of people, some people that were involved with it, so that's where I brought my copy back from. But because this was looking at basically the settlers, like a lot of the radicals, and the way that they interact with the state and the military, and a lot of their weird uses of myth and whatnot. So I think some of the references in that to the Goliath story are pretty relevant to what we've been seeing in the Gaza Strip, because that's the Philistines. Goliath fought, David and Goliath stories about the Philistines, and people are using those myths to justify unaliving everybody, right? And this was done back in what, 08 or 09. It's not so this a lot of the ideas that are motivating people now have been around for quite a while. So
yeah, and
some of the footage in that is fantastic. You guys have to see it.
I think let's definitely have some of this because the chat is going, Mish is saying road to apartheid. There's Israelism, Tentora, Five Broken Cameras, Gaza Fights for Freedom, Occupation for the American Mind, That's from The World is Watching. Yeah, there's so many.
Did anybody see Born in Gaza?
No.
That was done after I think in 14 or 15 after one of the more recent bombing campaigns there. It really it like takes you into the streets and talking to ordinary people. Of course, a lot of that stuff is now since destroyed, so it'd be even more, I think, impactful to watch now. But yeah, there's a lot of really good ones we could do.
Yeah, and for Callie or for anyone who's feeling a little bit hesitant about Discord, like we're here to help you. So please, like Callie, like come into the DC, and we're, this is where we're gonna have a lot of the kind of in community talks and some of these ideas. That's where the book, where JBS and Liam's podcasts and the book club and all of this is going to be. So please.
MSH is mentioning Abby Martin's movies. I'm looking forward to the new movie that's supposed to be coming up about how our military industrial complex is destroying the environment, the Earth's biggest enemy. I will let you know when that will come up because the trailer is very promising and she's really good. I'm a huge fan of Abby.
Right on.
I'll keep you posted.
Okay, so it sounds like the radical reading room is going to be not just reading, so that's cool. We could extend it into like some documentaries. Yeah, that could be fun. We could have like a once a month documentary movie night. We all watch it and then have a conversation afterwards.
Okay. I have a first question, if I don't mind, but it's in line of what we're talking about materials and documentaries. May I start off with going back to questions?
Oh, please do.
Okay. So I'm basically, my background is Polish. I came to US when I was 26, so you can say I was educated and brought up in different system and a kind of communist system, but I'm just discovering it's not really communist system. And I just started reading, which might you love. Let me give you just a little background that we in Poland, which I'm discovering, grew up in indoctrination, of course, right? But I didn't know that, free Europe or something was the same indoctrination. But I'm laughing now how our mental thinking has been such an infantile shortcut. So I just realized we hate Lenin, but I never read Lenin. And I just ordered the books on Lenin, and I talked to my friend who's like, why are you gonna read this shit? Don't you remember empty shelves from the communism? And I'm like, how stupid it is, that was my thinking. I will say this is my thinking, that we kind of thought of Lenin or Marx or all the communist, ideology. We identify with the empty shelves of communism and the Stalinism and the, killings of our uprisings and stuff. So I have a question. I have two questions to you, but the first one is, I'm being challenged by my friends in Poland when I try to tell them about the Ukraine right now. And I listen to Jeffrey Sachs and Scott Ritter and John Mearsheimer, and they all say, especially Jeffrey Sachs, when he says, Putin was doing this, and we promise that NATO will not go beyond this. And I'm asking you, where can I find primary sources for these informations? Like, what was the agreement between Washington and Soviet Union when the Soviet was falling apart, that NATO will not expand beyond Germany, which means Poland coming into NATO was already breaking of that agreement. And now the war, which is pretty much proxy war of Washington, and it is about the expansion of NATO and Russia feeling endangered. And I'm not Putin apologist by no means, but I want to. But there are certain circumstances that, why Russia reacted the way it did. And I kind of trust John Mearsheimer. I trust Jeff Sachs. But I want to know, I know with with limitations, but I want to know the primary sources they talk about. Where can I find those things?
It'll depend upon the document, but if there's a specific thing, like specific arguments, that's one of the things you can ask in the Discord, and I can pull things up to hit those. But in general, there are a lot of like gentlemen's agreements as the Cold War was winding down that tried to make it clear to people, oh no, we were only worried about the Soviets and y'all attacking us, so that's what NATO was, blah, 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 we won't expand it. But that's really not, it was never really the case. NATO was more of an offensive alliance than a defensive alliance, and we're badly taught that. So there's a lot of propaganda on the issue. And this is another one too, and I get those kind of critiques all the time. Oh, you're defending Putin. Like, bro, I would happily squeeze the life out of that man. I don't support his politics in any possible way, but you can see why they reacted the way they did. It's quite predictable. Oops. Give me a second.
I hope, guys, you don't mind that I'm dragging into East Europe, but because I feel like it's all US wars all over the world, I feel, to me, it is connected.
Oh, of course, Woke. Please. I think some intellectual conversation, and then we'll kind of start winding it down for Prof. But I think this is perfect. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for your saintly patience.
No, please. You're a wonderful mod. I feel bad. You keep apologizing. I'm like, okay.
I haven't plugged it. So this can.
Lindsay wrote that she likes my accent. Thank you very much. It's a Polish accent sparkled with amaretto today.
I put it on my mic.
Can I just say something to Lindsay, please? Quickly. Lindsay, you hot. That's all.
Is this about her death metal video?
Yeah, I
I'm in love with
agree.
Lindsay because of her music. I'm in love with Lindsay because of her music. Okay? I
Tell
love her
me,
music.
Where's Lindsay? Do I follow you, Lindsay? Where is she?
again.
So it's telling you what? Well, anyway, Lindsay, just I love your music. I love you because of your music, Lindsay. Now
Okay,
I'm a fan of yours.
I was trying not to watch Lindsay's videos when I sent them to you, Dharma. I was like, this is personal. I'm not going to watch it. And then when I saw the final video, I was like, oh my gosh, she's amazing.
Isn't she? Gosh.
Am I unfrozen now, or
No,
what's
you're
going on?
paused, sir. You're paused.
Huh. Well,
You are paused.
there's well, I'm not. So TikTok is just glitchy. So there's something wrong here.
Oh.
We hear you.
I'm glad you can hear me. I was just gonna start typing. I didn't know if people could hear me either. Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Maybe if you just close the live quickly and open it back up and then we come again.
Several people say it's okay now, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
Nope.
give it a second because it was glitching like this earlier, Dharma, and then it just like
Okay.
came back because on my I'm not supposed to talk about it, but another name for car, like an automobile, my automobile thumbs up that I have going on that account, if you kind of understand, it looks good. Was that too discreet? On my other account
It's
that's
okay. It's okay. No. Yeah, it's fine. But
yeah,
on my
yeah.
side, it just says live pause. Yeah. Maybe I should go and see on my other account. I'll go
It
see
might
now.
come back. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe just hop out of it for a second and back in, see if that clears it.
You can try.
If you want to try, sir.
No, I meant like it seems like it's unstuck for everybody else. So if you want to pop out and then pop back in,
Oh,
because
me. Oh, me.
if it's
Yeah,
only
I'll
showing
I'll
pause
do
for
that.
you.
I'll do that.
You want me to, shall I get off and on?
Woke and Emily, does it look paused for you too?
But I hear him. I can get off and on, but I don't, as long as I hear Liam.
Oh, it's interesting. Yeah, so maybe people on the panel lost the video, but because people in the chat were saying they can see it.
Yeah, it
So maybe
says
it's just,
paused. I can't see, but I can hear you.
so
Yeah,
maybe it's
it
just
seems
people who
like
were
it's
on the
different for
panel
the
at the
panel.
time when it glitched. So maybe if you guys pop off and then back on, it'll probably clear it. But I don't know. But people
Okay,
in the
well,
chat
if
are
it
saying
looks
they
good
see
for
it
the
fine.
chat, if it looks good for the chat, I can handle it being paused. But
Okay.
Yeah, me
yeah.
too.
Bug talk.
Go ahead, Woke. I know that you were directing us to East Europe. I don't mean to take you off track. I apologize.
No, it's okay. So I have one more question. If you can explain the difference between communism, socialism, and what Eastern Bloc actually experienced, like Poland or Slovakia or Czechoslovakia, I mean, what was
Um,
that?
that is okay. That is unjustifiably complicated because for a lot of people, it's just that it doesn't fit their particular definition of it. So the key here is that there are many approaches to both socialism and communism. There's no single one. So the Soviet Union was a socialist economy. It was a socialist state. Um, the and that doesn't mean it's what I would want. It's not my approach to socialism. In fact, it directly contradicts my approach to socialism, since they crushed independent labor unions and tried to centralize all power in the state. But it did oppose capitalist private property, so it technically is a form of socialism. The problem here is that people are always trying to think that there's only one meaning to these words, and that's not quite true. The basic definition of socialism is just that you oppose private ownership of the means of production. That's it. How you get to that, there's a bazillion ways to do it. So everything from like the Paris Commune to Maoist China is still going to be socialistic, even though they're very, very different. So I think that the key there is just to understand what people mean by it. Socialism is just some kind of social ownership of the means of production, whether that's direct worker ownership, state ownership, whatever. I mean, there's a bazillion ways of getting to it. Communism is a little easier, because what you mean by communism, small c, it can't exist within any kind of state. It's not possible. All the theorists of communism talk about communism being a state, a condition. I mean, once the state, meaning the politics, has ceased to exist. So there's never going to be a communist country because it's an oxymoron. The argument that we see with the different communist countries, big C, is any country run by a communist party can be called communist with a big C. But big C communism and small c communism are actually completely different things. One just denotes rule by a communist party, and the other is a classless, stateless condition in which the workers directly control the means of production. So true communism, small c, is a step beyond what a lot of people conceive of as socialism, because it also involves tossing the monetary system and having like a completely like, collective based, sharing economy, and we all like, contribute in, help people out, that kind of thing. But there's no market exchange of any sort, where most forms of socialism imagine some kind of currency and market system still existing, but oppose individual ownership of the means of production. So businesses will be run by the people who work there and owned by the people who work there, not by an owner class. It wouldn't be capitalistic, if that makes sense as a distinction. So socialism is a bit beyond it, because it involves completely reconceiving the economy, and moving past a currency system, where socialism doesn't. Socialism can coexist in quite a few different forms, economically and politically. So it has a lot of variation. Socialism is a huge tent. The only thing that defines it is some kind of collective ownership of the means of production. But what form it takes can vary. But yeah, the main distinction in terms of communism, especially relative to you, would be you're dealing specifically with big C communism, ruled by communist parties. Now in Poland, you have a particular complication, though, especially from the 1970s, because Poland was the first of the socialist countries to actually completely take off the mask and say, you know what, fuck it, it's just a military dictatorship, deal with it. So you guys had a much more, I guess, perverted form of it in that way, where they didn't care as much about at least trying to make the socialism real about it, if that makes sense. When people criticize their approach to socialism, they just said, well, screw it, we're not really going to be socialists, we're just going to be a dictatorship.
Okay, so basically communism. So we've been socialist. No, we've been dictatorship. We've been Soviet occupation.
More recently, you were a Stalinist-style military dictatorship, but and departing even from the socialist model. In the first few decades of post-war Poland, it was a socialist economy, but it never really gelled. It never really took root there as well as it did in some places like East Germany. So when people began protesting it, the Polish Communist Party basically tossed the communist part of it and just said, "Screw it, we're a military dictatorship." So your situation is a bit different from all the other Eastern European states in that regard. It was much more nakedly military. But there is a military dimension to all of them because they are state socialist ones run by communist parties, which means they are very hierarchical states.
I mean, what you're saying that's from the 70s, but when I look at the history, the more bloody part is like for all the Eastern Bloc is when Stalin was alive. The only difference I see here, and I can only say from Eastern Germany because that's the only country I was traveling to and could compare people, is that Polish people never believed into into Soviets. They very, maybe because of the history of not being free for too long, we are very protective of our identity, I guess, and we always had to separate identity between Polish and whatever system they are imposing on us, as opposed to German people who are actually living the ideology. That's how
Yeah,
I.
there was a huge difference between East Germany and Poland in that sense. Honestly, of all of the East European republics, East Germany put the most effort into trying to make the system work. Poland probably put the least effort into it in that sense. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Some of it, yeah, is prickliness around the identity, because Poland has so frequently been, steamrolled by other populations in the area. And part of it is the strong attachment to the Catholic Church and the way that sat uneasily with the Soviet approach to religions. There's a lot of factors there, but that just only two of them, of course. But the as far as periods where it's more bloody, that's actually a different point from what I was getting at here. I'm talking about whether or not it's like socialist per se. That's the key. There were attempts earlier on, at least, to build a socialist state and economy there, but it didn't really gel well. And I think the single biggest problem in most of them, and again, Germany's a bit of an outlier here, the Eastern European economies didn't have communist parties. They didn't have socialist parties to begin with. It wasn't an idea that made sense to a lot of people because it didn't have an industrial working class before the rise of the socialism. I mean, the bourgeoisie and the urban proletariat were both tiny, in the 19th century. So you never really had the same kind of development there. So it was it very much seemed like an artificial outside idea, like it was something being imposed by the Soviets, among their satellite states, for their buffer area. And that made it easy for a lot of people to resist it because it didn't have any real indigenous roots. It didn't really build up there. Comintern was a Soviet idea, and honestly, Stalin disassembled the Comintern when he established his total control. Emily, that's much more of like a Lenin and Trotsky, earlier on trying to spread the revolution around. I'm saying, like, indigenously in Poland, there was no significant socialist movement to be built on in the aftermath. So it appeared very artificial to a lot of people. So that built up a lot of that built up a lot of other resistance to it as well. Especially early on too, since clearly the government in exile didn't get to come home. They just said, no, yeah, this is ours now. We're going to change your borders and we're going to impose a government. People weren't happy with that. But getting back to the basic distinction here among them is that to be socialist in any kind is just some kind of communal ownership of the means of production, and there's a bazillion ways to get there and different forms of it. So something can be real socialism and still be terrible to, depending on your perspective, I mean, most forms of socialism I actually dislike. And communism has not actually existed in any state in the modern period. There are forms of communism that have appeared in the absence of states, and certainly if you go back, into the pre-modern period, I mean, large parts of the medieval economy can really be understood as communistic. I mean, there's a lot of ways in which an actual small c communism has existed at different points in time, but not in the way that the communist parties have envisioned it. Big C communism is just ruled by these authoritarian, Soviet-inspired states. So Poland was Big C communism in that sense, being ruled by a communist party.
Thank you. That explained a lot. And if I may share something, what you mentioned about Polish people being attached to Catholicism, I grew up for me, the communist era gave a freedom from a religion. And so when I was, in education, for me, the most important part was that the Christianity really killed my ancestors and the religion of my ancestors, and I was angry about that. And I always was angry about those Polish people being so attached to their religion, especially that once we got free from the Soviets, we got into the dependence from the Vatican. So I was not happy about that. But
Right.
the Palestinian struggle helped me forgive Polish people the attachment, because I see a lot of the Palestinian struggle. I see a lot of Polish struggle in it from the 19th century when we were off the map, right? And I understood how religion can unify people and can help
Exactly.
them get
It gives you a
like,
sense of resilience, a strength, a
yes.
way to go on. So all the crap they had to deal with being wiped off the map several times and then having these governments imposed on them and everything else, clinging to some of those traditional elements did give people a sense of like resilience in their identity. The dark side of it, though, is that in the post-Soviet period, there's been a significant drift more to reactionary politics and to like elements of the far right because of that long-term suppression too. So some people clung too tightly to that, and it's created an interesting backlash.
I guess what you could say is that humanity is, we have this change blindness. So something that rescue you one day can become your prison later on.
Yep,
So this is
exactly.
something, yes, like the religion can become a political tool, as we see in a lot of countries. But I understood that the trauma Polish people experience, and that's how and why they're holding on to it so strongly. And
Right.
I kind of helped me forgive them, if that makes sense to
Yeah.
anybody.
Yeah, no, exactly. I feel the same way. I totally understand why people clung to Catholicism and Orthodox Christianity in a lot of those societies, because it did provide some kind of anchor in a world that was very, very confusing, constantly unsettled.
Yeah, and you have to make sense out of senseless death, yeah, and
Right,
cruelty.
exactly. Yep. So it can provide a source of strength, but it can also open the door to reactionary politics. So it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, that's what I always kind of feel it, that anything that saved you at some point will become your prison, and kind of I see that in a lot of things.
Right. It's one of the reasons, like, while I understand it, I also I'm I caution people not only about um uh, the lure of religious fundamentalism, but also of nationalism, because even anti-colonial nationalisms, while they make a certain sense, they can turn right back around and screw you all up again, and it's happened repeatedly. So people clinging to a strong Palestinian nationalism can also, you know, it can be dangerous in future as well. So again, what frees you today can create your prison tomorrow. So
Yeah,
I think that was a good way you put that. So yeah, it's something that it's I don't like to push too much on things like that, because I don't like preaching from the outside to people. But when it's raised, I do try to at least caution people on things like that. That while this makes sense now, this could also be dangerous for Palestinians. So we should be careful about it.
yes, and I'm with you. I'm not preaching to anybody. What I'm saying is that it helped me. It really did help me understand and see Polish history differently and understand what we were going through. And it's horrible. And I really keep saying, whenever I talk about Palestinian people, I keep saying, I witnessed the struggle. I'm here and I'm here for them. And I am so sorry. And I feel like really feel bad that for me they're almost like a case study. But I'm born far away from it. I'm not Palestinian, and I help the way I can, but I also I understand they are currently going through the trauma. So I want to express that I do not forget it any minute in my day. And I appreciate the time. You explained a lot to me, and thank you for the space here. So I'll leave my questions for next time. I don't want to
Thanks. Yeah. And
take
and
over.
yeah, this is again going into things like this in future is it honestly makes me happy because it can give me excuses to go back and revisit things that I just don't get to think about or talk about much. I'm caught up too much in a handful of major areas, and Eastern Europe often gets short shrift on that. But it was a very early interest of mine in terms of histories. So I love the excuse to go back to it. You and Cactus both do that for me. Bring up questions in those areas. Ooh, yeah, cool. I remember that. Yeah, so it's fun. So I
I
appreciate.
think I thank you. I appreciate it, but I think also because we both, at least me and you, and a lot of people here, we live in US. To me, we are the kind of culprit in all this. So to me, it is our war everywhere. So understanding it, and especially how right now with the funds, with how they allocate the so-called help to Middle East and to Ukraine, those two wars are very connected, and what happens on one front is going to affect what happens on the other one. So to me, and I understand other people might feel it's kind of getting away from the topic, but to me, because the central point is the U.S. and U.S. foreign policy, which of course affects our domestic policy. It's all very connected for me. That's why I'm unpacking everything.
No, yeah, for me too. Exactly. Our policy in Europe, the Middle East, Africa, Latin America, they're all interconnected. Yeah, for sure. And there are a lot of important common denominators. And again, if we focused much more on the causal relationships, if we focused much more on things like capitalism and nationalism and the military industrial complex, things like that, it'd be a lot easier to deal with these things because we're constantly running around putting out fires in different areas, and then we just allow a whole new one to break out over and over again because we never address the real problems.
Like that, for example, I just realized someone just in one of the interviews that our military industry is private. So if it's private, that means it's driven by profit. If it's driven by profit, those products have to be used somewhere. It's so simple,
It
right?
is. It really is. Oh, and then getting back to like the whole recommendation thing earlier, that's a theme that I've already seen in Fallout too. Like the criticism of the Vault Tech company in that show is that they were selling a product based on people's fear of a nuclear war. So if there was peace and there was no longer a threat of nuclear war, they they would fail in their fiduciary responsibility to shareholders. They wouldn't be making a profit anymore selling this tech. So they had an incentive to push us toward that kind of conflict. And it's a neat way, I think, if people really pick that up in shows like this, it's a neat way of helping people understand this is how the military industrial complex works and has worked for a century. And they keep building this stuff up. Yes, as soon as you build these things, someone's going to use them. You can't buy all these weapons and then just have them sit around. It never works that way. And this
What
is an issue that we've got going back as far as complex economics have existed. It's a fun one for people, like just as a fun parallel there. This, Cactus would enjoy that if he was still around. Um, this is one of the things that destroyed the Roman Republic was there was a war profiteer class of investors who made a shit ton of money on Rome's conflicts, so they decided to push the government to conquer more and more territory in the Eastern Mediterranean because all those conflicts got them to sell weapons, got them to sell the grain, and then produced the slaves because when they conquered territory, they took some slaves, and that drove their agricultural development back in Italy. So it's all driven by investment. I mean, this is like 2,500 years ago. You can see exactly the same dynamic that we're dealing with today. This is why it frustrates me that it's so hard for people to see the causative factors.
where can I read this? That what you're talking about?
About Rome.
Rome or the first one about the pushing nuclear war? What was
Oh,
that?
well, the one there about the nuclear conflict, that's the current TV series Fallout.
Fallout. Okay.
When we finish here today, I'm going to watch the last episode of it. I just finished the first season of it that just came
Okay.
out. And they really, I think they've done a pretty good job of like building up and letting people see like what this corporation is really doing, and how it's going to be responsible for so much of this. And again, that's our history. We see it all the freaking time. So the more people can understand those dynamics, the better. But you're right to point to things like the profit motive as a key problem. It's what makes incarceration a problem. It's what makes healthcare a problem. There's so many areas where this desire to profit on something is going to push us down terrible roads.
I I know this might be like stating the obvious,
Somebody just said
but
there's no Italy during Rome. What the? Okay, yeah. So do I have? First off, yeah, I'm literally a historian, and Italia was the Roman name for the peninsula below the Po River Valley. So yes, Italy is Rome. Like Italia is the Latin name for the Italian fucking peninsula. The nation
oh,
state of Italy doesn't exist until 1864, but we all talked about Italy for 3,000 years or whatever. Like we always knew like what the area was, like it's a region, it's a
How is this
geographic
guy
region.
back
So
again?
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't
That's
know.
that was,
Actually, it was
that was a
living in
bizarre question.
Milan. It was the Italians that taught me my love of red wine. I
Yeah,
moved to Milan and did not like red wine, and I come back and it is that's. But I want to make one quick point, and maybe this is like stating the obvious, but it's just that very basic principle that capitalism will value capital over humans. Like that is its very foundation. And I know it's like stating the obvious, but capitalism ruins everything. And
oh man, somebody
we're
tossed
always
this.
thankful for you.
Oh man, how do I get this?
I do have a
Somebody
question
somebody
from the
tossed that
chat,
Zach and
Liam.
Allah from the group there, but like very suddenly. So um, I don't want
Oh,
again. I don't want people to get mad and come back and start reporting my shit. So if you're gonna outright block somebody, I probably should as well, just because of that. But
you blocked
it's
him on the
at some
first
point,
account, sir. You blocked him
yeah,
on the first account.
yeah, and honestly, somebody making a point like that is just like, okay, so it's wrong, but it's an opportunity to point out like why it's wrong. Let somebody know. Yes, Italy is an English language word, but Italia definitely existed under the Romans, and we should be able to let people know that if they don't know that.
Oh, I think he was kind of mad because I didn't let him up either.
Well,
Um, I do have a question from the chat from Rebellious, and I had to do a Google search to make sure that I didn't look, that I knew what I was talking about, at least, asking his question. Rebellious is asking, if Mondragon or Mondragon is run on socialist principles. I Googled it and it's a socio-economic principle. Oh, let's go back.
Can
But
I just
I
say,
don't know. I put that.
Mondragon.
can I just say something quickly while Erika's looking up something? When I'm down in the chat, then I can see you, but when I'm here on the panel, then it says live paused.
Weird.
Yeah,
I
it's not
know.
great up on the panel.
We're great on the panel, but like it's not. Like, we can't see you.
Yeah, TikTok got some
Totally.
issues right now.
It's being held
Yeah.
together with duct tape, as Nikita says.
Bird, I want to ask a question. Ask your question, Birdie.
Oh, there we go. Mondragon Collective in Basque.
You mean the corporation, the corporate body, yeah?
Yeah, the collective.
Yeah. It's I'm not sure where I'd fall on that one. I'd have to. I'd have to look back at it because there's a lot of times those kind of bodies they're sort of hybridized in a way. But they do have elements of a socialist aesthetic to them. But I wouldn't want to definitively say one way or the other without thinking about it. Yeah, I've never really considered it that way. I don't know.
And to Water Sign down in the
There are a
comments,
ton of ways
yes,
to be
his other.
cooperative. There's tons of ways to be cooperative and collective in social structures that aren't necessarily socialistic. There's tons of them. Ultimately, a lot of classic era fascism is collectivist and corporate in that way, but is not actually socialistic. So there are a lot of fine distinctions that have to be made there. So I'd have to think about that one for a bit. Anyway,
Got it. And yes, to some comments in the chat, his other account, we are still trying to get it back. So if you want to email creators@tiktok.com and try to get his old account back, we'd very much appreciate it. We would really like to get that one back.
why this is goofy.
Oh my God. Hi.
Hi, Bird. Is this your
Hi.
first live?
Yes.
Welcome to your very first live.
Thank you.
Welcome on the panel.
Thank you. Hello,
it's nice to hear
everybody.
your voice.
Aw, thank you for having me. I did have a question, if that was allowed. Oh,
Please, go
trying
ahead.
to show myself. Okay, here we go. Hi. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
This is so fun. Thank you. So I want to maybe just tell you a little bit about myself, quickly. So I am not necessarily as educated as everybody, but that is okay. I've been super welcomed and all those things. So when I first started TikTok, my first thing that I did was to follow everybody that was teachers or professors or people that weren't like me, of different races or different abilities. I really tried to expand my knowledge, and I think that's what put me on your page. And I've been here since probably November, and I've loved it so much. And so something that's really important to me is decolonization. And I guess my question for you is that I saw a video which was somebody talking about them submitting their papers with no capital letters, as it was apparently a language, they were trying to use their language against the system, right? So that could be not using capital letters, or
Like
uh
bell hooks.
maybe, yeah, yes. Or also like oral history, those type of things. What is your personal feeling about how academia necessarily could maybe decolonize? What do you think?
Well, it has to a large degree, but it's a huge. I mean, there's a lot of people in it, so there's plenty of people who are academics and are also super into imperialism. The profession has problems that stem largely from, quite honestly, a 19th century structure. There's a lot of things that are very problematic about the way we organize things, but there's a lot of academia that is very, very clearly anti-colonial in structure, but it's difficult to undo it for the profession as a whole the way things are currently constituted. I think the best way to aim in that direction is to get back to the way that universities were initially founded. And especially if you're thinking about people. I don't think a lot of people know the European university system was actually created by students, and so was the degree system and the way professors worked. Like masters and doctorates were created because students insisted upon a certain level of qualification to know that their instructors weren't idiots, that they actually knew what the hell they were talking about, and they originally designed the curricula for the schools, right? And they had the right to fire instructors that didn't work right. The students really ran things, through the guild systems early on. But it's become much more of a business, and it's gotten worse in many ways more recently because a lot of universities are totally dependent upon corporate money now. Even public universities are dependent upon corporate money. So it's heading in some ways in the opposite direction. The faculty isn't really the problem in many cases. Some cases, yes, but the institutions are very problematic in their structure still.
Thank you. So a lot of people in the area that I live in are indigenous, and oral history is like their history. Do you ever see oral history becoming a part of higher academic
It is.
learning?
It is,
Really?
and it's been used that way for a long time. Yeah.
Really?
I mean,
Okay, cool.
I've got a bunch of stuff on oral history in my historiography shelves, on methodologies and
Oh,
whatnot. Um, there are
that's cool.
there are techniques for using it well, and that's the real trick. Well, um, the oral history still has to be history, meaning it still has to follow some basic empirical methods. It still has to make sense. It still has to work. It can't just be like, oh, well, my grandfather told me this, therefore it's true, and then we just take it as absolutely true. It still has to fit into a broader framework to be useful. Sometimes people try to do a straight substitution and take only what was passed down orally, and that becomes the new history, but that's no better than history without the oral stuff. But taking that material in, and honestly, anthropologists and ethnographers do really good work bringing that material in, and there's a whole subdiscipline of historical anthropology that I've had a toe in for a lot of years. And historical anthropology uses ethnography and uses oral history, so you absolutely need it. It's a fundamental part of it. It's one of the things that's actually helped to undo a lot of the histories in a lot of colonized areas, everything from
Yeah.
the South Asianists, and the whole subaltern studies that built up there as a whole methodology for using that kind of material and trying to find those hidden voices. Do a lot of great work that's been done in sub-Saharan Africa and in the Middle East. In fact, a lot of really good material on Palestine's history has come through the oral histories that have been collected over the last century. There's tons of material that goes back. People have been collecting that material since the late 19th century, but it hadn't been inserted into it. It wasn't being used with a lot of other history. And you get really good material when you combine them. You add those voices.
Yeah, I guess where my question is coming from is like the place that I was born on and grew up in. There's like some challenge of the local indigenous claim to the land, and the oral history of the indigenous people is that there was not a treaty, and the government says like that they just took it over or whatever. So I guess I was just curious more specifically about like what everything that you said, but also um, the validity of it, like how it is seen from people's perspectives. And
Yeah, when the way historians and anthropologists will work with this kind of material in a professional context is when we take in those stories and we collect the oral histories, and then we have to try and find some way to link to it to help to validate it. I mean, obviously, it just needs to circumstantially fit. Like if there's anything that seems to, oh, hey, there's evidence that people did live here, and somebody wrote, oh, hey, there's those people who lived around the other side of the hill there, and some other record. Oh, okay, cool. Then that sort of supports this tribe's understanding of having lived there. There's things like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting work like that to try and fit the oral histories in. So
I
there
just
is work that does that, but it does get complicated, especially when you're talking about like the different like recognized tribes and treaties and all that stuff, because there's a whole bunch of
yeah.
unrecognized tribes. That doesn't mean they weren't actually a tribe of people. It just means the government just never bothered to denote their existence, and you can't use that as an excuse to erase them. They do still exist.
Yeah. Thank you so much. That is so great to hear.
We have a
I
ton of
appreciate it.
unrecognized tribes in the U.S. actually.
I just so the land that I grew up on is apparently under the Douglas Treaty in on Vancouver Island, Canada, and
Mhm.
well, of course, it was taken over by colonizers. So I don't know. Yeah, that's interesting. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, there's where it intersects with state narratives gets problematic because the way the states, I mean, the way we treat things through the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and you deal with like all the First Nation
But I'm in
stuff there, like that
Canada. Yeah.
complicates things. But yeah, there is effort by historians that focus on those areas. And there's again a lot of people in anthropology and sociology departments who do serious work on those indigenous identities and use those oral
Yeah, it's
histories.
important, I
Hmm.
think. Anyways,
Absolutely,
thank you.
they are definitely part of the overall picture.
Oh, thank you so much. Happy birthday.
Oh, thank you,
Can I just say,
this is great.
Birdie, you're really pretty and you're really awesome. Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Thanks so much.
Yeah,
Thank you,
you
Dr.
did
Liam.
great on live.
So I had to come and join the chat with my other account because I needed to see you because this live post thing didn't work for me.
Okay.
This didn't work, so I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
it was
just
weird for a bit. You were showing, it looked like you were holding up a phone, so it was like seeing a delayed echo of myself, which was really disconcerting.
Yes, I was just showing you that I was streaming from my other account as well because this one says live post and I'm watching you from the other screen. So it's that's all.
Okay, so I will drop too. I mean, Erica, you can drop me, but because I still have some voice here on the panel, let me just say out loud that in the chat, MSH and me agreed that the book we're putting on the list to discuss is Paulo Freire. God, how do I pronounce it? The Brazilian name,
Yeah,
Freire, Freire,
sure.
the pedagogy of the oppressed, and we're really
This
happy
one?
that we have a community that we can discuss this stuff. So and
Honestly, if people want to do a week where we talk about radical pedagogies, there's actually some really good stuff on anarchist pedagogies I've got as well.
yeah, we can discuss on the but on the Discord. It just
Mhm.
I thought I started reading the Paulo Freire, and and I just said in the chat we were so excited that we kind of agreed on the book and on being like-minded and having a community to discuss this thing. So I again appreciate the community here and Liam and around you, and you can drop me. I can so I can see you too because I also am live post and I ask my questions for today. So I appreciate very much.
You're
I
Yes,
welcome
was going to
it's
say
anytime.
important
for
that
Yeah,
we
we
see
conversations,
appreciate
you.
yeah,
you.
there's a few good ones I've got on anarchist pedagogies, a couple on the new school from Spain, but there's a number of more recent ones as well. But there's also for this like not only you have like Freire, but also I don't know. There's gosh, yeah, we could really get into some of like the decolonize your mind kind of stuff, Read some Frantz Fanon, things like that. Yeah,
Yes.
this would be fun.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think this is going to evolve, and I absolutely love it. Like, I think this is wonderful.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you
the neat
so
thing
much,
about
Woken Soul.
the reading circle one is that we can in a Discord room like suggest a bunch of different like book ideas, and then I will come up with a short list. Okay, here's like 5 or 6 we can do for this given month, and then people can pick the ones that they want to read, and yeah, it can be a lot of fun. We're taking a guess.
Yep,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Well, I'm gonna take my leave. I think this is a really, if you're feeling kind of a good time to wrap up, I'm gonna go ahead and take your leave since Dharma is here. And I thank you, Dharma, and everyone. Like, happy birthday, Liam. You are so appreciated.
Oh,
The
thanks,
the
man.
goal and the beautiful video and everything is just to help you feel loved and appreciated. So,
No,
I
thank you.
hope
I
that
really
that
appreciate
goal
it.
is achieved. So.
Yeah, it was for sure. I appreciate all of you. The card was great. The hat that's on my mic is great. Um, the uh, yeah, with the painting. I mean, come on. Yeah, this is all good. Video.
Yeah, 50, these milestones are important. These milestones are important. So, yeah, you're appreciated and loved. So,
Thanks.
I will hang down in the chat for a little bit and then I'm probably going to go to sleep. Or maybe not. We'll see what happens. So,
I
appreciate
probably
you.
should
Bye.
soon too anyway, because I need to get up early enough to clean some stuff up and get ready to do a recording with JBS in the morning. And it is still moving stuff off. It's still moving data. So
All right. Well, good night,
yeah,
everyone.
since you're looking to go, we should probably just wind down in general.
Yeah, because it's like really, it's now quarter to 7 in the morning for me.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking I need to sleep some more before I get up and clean house stuff, you know.
Yep.
But we just all wanted to come and be with you as usual and come and learn.
Yeah, yeah, no, I appreciate that. Yeah,
But
this is fun.
it's been a tiring week, sir. It's been a draining and a tiring and a busy week, I think, for all of us, and mentally taxing. So to take a rest early would be a very good thing.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, it would be. So yeah, I can um go find some devil's lettuce and wind down over the next hour, and then get a little sleep and still get up in time to set up for JBS.
Okay, what is devil? Okay, am I going to ask a wrong thing now? What is devil's lettuce? I don't know.
Um,
Don't
well,
laugh! Don't
I've
laugh
got
at
the lizard
me.
hat, so just imagine I've got a long pipe and I'm filling my pipe with pipe weed. And what kind of pipe weed is it?
Ow!
You know,
Okay, was
the
it?
non-addictive pipe weed that helps me go to sleep.
Okay. I'm sorry. Was it like that soup sticky thing again? Oh my God, I'm sorry. It's like I don't know stuff. I'm sorry. So don't laugh.
Yeah, there's always somebody like funky names for it. Yeah, it does help to slow my head down, which is great. I'm a lifelong insomniac. Part of that's just genetics. Neither of my parents sleep very much, but it's not helped by being hyperactive as well. So
Yeah, but
it's
it's
useful.
crazy. Like because like Emily and everybody else, Danny, Emily, everybody's like, "Don't you ever sleep?" And I'm like, "I wish I could. I can't. I don't know how." And it's like, I wish I could sleep 8 hours. They were all shocked when they heard that I sleep like 3 hours a night. It's like, what? And
Yeah,
I can't help it.
that would be normal for me. I mean, yeah, I'd wake up naturally after 4 hours at most. Yeah. But if I get some good CBN in, I'll sleep 6 to 8. It'll actually give me a normal night's sleep. So yeah, you need some CBN gummies or something.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know where you find these things in South Africa. You don't. I don't know. I've looked because I've heard people in
No.
America say, "Oh, there's this, there's that." But we don't have it here. And it's a funny thing because, like, it. Yeah, I don't know. I can't find it here.
Yeah, I don't know. There's got to be a way to do it. I I know people grow there, so there's got to be some kind of
Yes,
underground
people
industry.
grow these things. It's actually
But
legal
it's
for us to grow these things at home. It's
but
legal.
it's but it depends on because a lot of it wouldn't be helpful for sleep either. You definitely don't want like sativas, and there's a lot that can like increase anxiety or pep you back up. But there are some cannabinoids that are really really good for for slowing you down. So
Yeah, I need that because
it's got to be available in the area somewhere, but I
I
don't know.
don't know. I don't know where to start looking, actually. I don't know. But it's something that I really do need because it's like, um, yeah, 3 hours, that's what I get at most. Otherwise, I wake up. I just wake up and I lie here waiting for the alarm to go off. Okay. So, sir, maybe we should call it a night. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, this was great. Thank you so much for the gifts and the well wishing and all the rest. This was fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I got to socialize a little bit today instead of just talking to the cats.
That's always
Because
good.
it's sort of like working on this computer stuff all day. I've done nothing else, so this has been great.
Yeah, it gets a bit tedious. It's funny how doing some of these like data transfers and stuff, it gets you mentally fatigued, but not tired enough to sleep, so you're frustrated and you're tired, but you're just
Hmm.
like there. Have you found that?
Right. Yeah, no, and it's the tedium on it too because with a lot of it, especially this getting off the phone as well, because the limited memory on it, I can't queue up a whole bunch of folders at once. I have to do them in chunks. So
Yeah.
like I'll have a folder with thousands of pictures in it. I have to scroll down and manually select a couple hundred at a time and move them. It just like oh,
Wow.
and to get through a terabyte of stuff that's time consuming. It's been a pain in the butt. So
Yeah, it was very tragic for me to sort of wake up after the 2 hours and go like, what? What happened to your phone? What? I just left. What happened? Because I remember I was lying here falling asleep and you were talking and JBS walked in and I heard him come in and then I don't know what happened. And then I woke up. It's like I blinked my eyes and I thought it was just like a second, but it wasn't. It was like an hour or two. And I went back to TikTok and it's my phone just this happened. I'm like, what? It's like I go away for a second and things happen to you. Like, what?
I mean, yeah, I don't normally have a bunch of metal in that part of the room, but I was just like typing in some book recommendations on U.S. imperialism, and it slipped out of my hand and landed directly on a metal bar. So, whoops.
Wow. I'm
Um,
so sorry.
but
But
yeah,
is it
I've got a whole bunch of stuff on the other side of the office here that I still have to get out. What I have is I have I laid out the little folding bed that I've got there, and I have a bunch of like tools and stuff piled on top of it, and I brought it from downstairs. So I've got to get everything
hmm
back outside and
hmm
clean that other side up. But oh well,
Yeah. Well,
the
shit
fingers.
happens. What can you
Exactly.
do?
Yep. Yep. What
Yeah.
can you do? It's an excuse for an upgrade. I mean, by the time, but I had to buy it in advance, so I had to drop 2 grand yesterday. But they're going to send me $1,600 back from that, so it overall won't be a huge expense. Um, by the time I buy the little otter box to protect it and things like that, I'll spend an extra $500. But out of that, I get a phone upgrade. So I mean, that'll be fine. You know? And the
hmm
nice thing about the new model is that the edges of the screen don't curve. It's flat now, which is great because I sometimes have a hard time reaching the edges of the screen in the current one. So
Okay.
I'm gonna look for like silver linings in it. Once I finally get the thing set up, I'm sure I'll be perfectly happy, and prefer the new one. But it's
Yes.
just
It
not what
takes
you want
time.
like very suddenly. I mean, I would rather plan my upgrades. That's why this phone still works. This is my older one. Uh, I would rather do the change while you still have a working one so you can do it at your own pace instead of like, oh crap, I got to fix this thing now because without my task list, I'm going to go insane.
Oh, but
I've been going insane for 2 days because I can't check anything.
yeah, because like I sent you things in Messenger and I was like, oh, he didn't see it. But that's
Oh,
okay because I'm thinking you're not connected that way. So I'm like, okay, you
oh
know
yeah.
what? If things happen
Yeah,
to you
yeah. There's a lot of things like I can't get the Facebook Messenger ones because it's insisting on some kind of auth code that I need from the old phone, so it won't log me in properly on this one. So I can
hmm
see my Facebook, but I can't see Facebook Messenger. I can't get any SMS. So, I mean, no telephone calls. So like I made a Zoom call to my mother yesterday to let her know so she could tell my brother and whatnot because they always try to like contact me on my birthday and whatnot, and they can't, so I didn't want them to think I was ignoring them.
Yes.
But yeah,
Mm.
like there's
No,
a
no.
whole bunch of stuff missing. So
But I think you know what happens is that you yourself and like everybody else, you get so busy and you think, oh yes, I will get to the maintaining of this and that later. Later, there'll always be time until the universe actually causes something that says no now.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So then I got to make sure. I mean, at least I'm going into summer here. So once I get this thing set up, I have an excuse to like, set up a proper NAS again and get the backups working properly again, which honestly I've not bothered with for quite a while. I had a good backup system working at my previous house before I came up here full time. I haven't had a fully automated system since then. So I've been having to remember to do it every now and then manually, just plug in and copy stuff off. And I'll forget,
Hmm.
so I don't want to deal with that. So
But life's
I gotta
gotten
force myself to
busy.
set up a nice automated system again, so I don't have to worry about it. So I just while my phone's like while I'm asleep, it'll just back itself up regularly.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what
But anyway, we
we'll get
will
it done.
let you be. We'll let you be and like go and have a rest and go and have a chill. And it was lovely to be with you tonight in a very chilled experience.
Yeah, thanks.
Although
I appreciate
Minerva
it.
had to put some drama.
Yeah. This is great. So thank you. Yeah,
Yes.
no, this was touching. Um, this is the closest I've come to a birthday party in quite a few years. I think the last actual birthday party I had in person was like I don't know, 13 years ago or something. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
you said. You said.
Yeah,
But
so
I think that,
this is nice.
yeah,
It's
because
been fun.
the thing is that Danny and Emily and everybody else, they wanted to show their love and appreciation, and so did all of us. But like number one, we're all very far away. But number two, we also don't like the in-person interaction, any of us. I don't think any of us. So it was like, oh, but Sir doesn't like that either. So now what do we do? And well, the closest thing was the video. So it's like, okay, let's do that because, it's still personal, but it's still, it gives enough space, emotional space. And that was okay. So we
We
just
should still
wanted
at
to,
some point in future plan some kind of rendezvous, like it plan
yes,
it like
all of
way in
us.
advance, um, like pick some kind of fun event and we can all like meet up in a summer somewhere. That'd be kind of
Like a
fun.
Comic Con, like a Comic Con.
Yeah, exactly. Like yeah, find something to be interesting.
Yes, and we will all get together, but so that seemed perfect, because we were all kind of standoffish. We all like our own personal space, but we all just want to
Right.
also show you love.
Yeah,
So
for sure. And yeah, I don't tend to choose a lot of social events, but I tend not to mind some of them, especially smaller ones, when I have the chance. So it just, oh, I don't want to do that. But then once I get out, I do have fun. So I was, that's one bummer about the phone breaking too, is I was actually going to meet JBS in person because he's only a couple of hours away. So we were going to go have lunch, but we'll just plan something for next week or whatever. So yeah, if anybody's near enough by and wants to meet up at some point, then yeah, it's great.
wow.
It's not like I hate being around people. I just, you know, I'm I'm kind of naturally a hermit, but I don't hate people. So I want to meet up.
Yeah, but now now I'm the furthest person away, and that's like But okay, never mind. I'll have a chance one day, inshallah. I'll
Eventually.
have a chance.
Yep.
That looks awesome, sir, man.
This
That
thing
looks
is so
so.
zippy.
That's perfect on you.
Now I need one of
It's
those
perfect.
long pipes. I need the long curving Gandalf pipe.
Yes, you do. That's
Uh,
an absolutely perfect gift. Like when we were all discussing it and we were talking, I was like, Danny, that's perfect. That's perfect. You know, because you needed that. You needed it, and now it's so perfect on you. It's the
yeah, this is
beard and
cool.
the hair and your stature. It's perfect.
Yeah, this is cool. I haven't had like a novelty hat in a while. This is neat.
And it suits
Oh,
you
this
so
is in San
well.
Diego. Yeah, you're only a couple of hours away. I oh, MSH is in Palm Springs. Yeah, you're even closer. My father's in Yucca Valley, so I'm out that way regularly.
What is tanky bedtime?
I didn't see that one.
No, Emily is saying, should I come up to make Tanky bedtime?
Oh, I think that's just to force me to shut up and close this thing.
Oh,
So
oh yeah, it's
that's it.
you and me
Right?
again. Emily's like, be quiet. Okay, so really, honestly, we'll go now. We'll go now.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, but we love you.
thank you. Thank you. This is great.
Yeah. Awesome.
Have a good night, folks.
Ta-ta, ta-ta.
I got my own sorting hat now too. This is cool. Let's see. Okay, good night. I'm gonna shut this off.